Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast. And now here's the guy who will never make you cut off any fingers. I am Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Rob Has a Podcast. It's our feedback show. This is our weekly chance to answer your questions, have a little bit more fun with the episode, listen to all of the wild moments from the episode, and of course, the Survivor social media here on the feedback show. And we are so fortunate to have here with us today a great guest to kick off the feedback show season. Please welcome my co-host on the Nothing But Netflix podcast, my podcast mentor. Here he is, Chappell. Chappell, how are you?
Rob, I'm speechless. When did I become the podcast mentor? I am such a
2 years ago. Yeah.
2 years ago?
Yes.
I'm more like a podcast life coach, you know, like I'm here.
Podcast life coach. Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't say mentor. No, Rob, please. I'm very happy to
Chappell,
always get a chance to talk to you whenever I can.
You did for Rob Has a Podcast what Russell Hantz did for Survivor in Survivor Samoa. You came in, you played a chaotic energy, changed the direction of the entire podcast.
And then have continuously lost, you know, like at every turn. Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds like me. Actually, thank you, Rob.
You both, yeah. And we're here to kick off the feedback show season. You did it in season 41. We talked about Survivor Guy.
We did.
It made the best of the year.
And I think Survivor Guy is back, Rob. Did you peep that? Sorry,
I did. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Chappell. How are you feeling?
I'm good. A little tired. It's early morning here.
No.
In the great state of Texas. But
how are you feeling?
Wow, that is a good question. I don't know, Rob. I don't think I'm able to answer that. I'm happy. What are you talking about? I'm always happy.
Zach said that is the magic question that somebody asks you on Survivor. That how are you feeling is code.
Oh yeah, that's like, do you want to be in an alliance, right?
Like, that's like you up. Yeah. It means a different thing.
See, but you up is outdated. Like, and then you like, it's now evolved. Like, I'm an eyeball emoji type person. Like, I send the eyeball emojis. I'm like, hey, you up? That's kind of like my coded you up. But now I have to start texting people like, how you feeling? Like that's the new move.
I guess if you're on Survivor and you want to make an alliance with them.
I mean, I thought you meant just in general. Like that should be my new like opening.
I think you got to be careful with that in the real world because you might not be ready for the wall of text that comes back if you start texting people, how are you feeling?
Oh dear God, the way I would fall apart if you sent me like the actual answer to that question, how you feeling? And they're like, well, I'm actually very distraught. Like, oh God, like just kill, like take my phone, throw it into the ocean. It's fine. Yeah. I think we learned something new from Zach. Also, maybe he should have asked more people how they were feeling because then maybe we wouldn't be in the situation we're in right now. But he seemed to notice that there were moments where people were trying to align with him. So yeah, I'm happy for Zach and his experience.
Okay, well, I'm so excited to talk about everything Survivor here with you today. We have had a great week of podcasts already, the Know-It-Alls. I had my interview with Zach, which you can watch on YouTube, which is for the podcast listeners. This is a new thing here in season 42. All that stuff, including my interview here with Chappell. We try to do as many of these podcasts as we can on video. You can check that out at robhasawebsite.com/YouTube. And of course, all of the other great Survivor podcasts in our Survivor podcast feed are available when you subscribe to robhasawebsite.com/Survivor feed. And we appreciate your feedback and your star ratings at the start of the season. You have unlimited stars.
Just give us 5 all the time. Yeah. Like it doesn't hurt.
This is not a prisoner's dilemma. You don't have to, should I risk my stars or protect my stars? You can just risk them all and then you have unlimited stars.
Right. And you won't lose any sleep about it. Like tomorrow you're not gonna thinking, gosh, I gave them 5, but I really could have used that 4th, that other star. And like, no.
I think you can go back in and change it after.
No. I mean, unless you can move it up. So like if you've already done stars and you've given 1 or 2 stars, like you can go in and add additional stars.
More
but
stars.
No, by no means can you remove stars. Like don't even try it. Just trust us.
Yeah. Just go to
where's the best way?
robbinswebsite.com/survivor feed, and then you can click on the Apple Podcast link to
Yeah,
give us feedback and star ratings there. And then we get some good ones. We'll read them on the podcast.
I like that. Yeah, give us some good
Yeah.
feedback, some positive feedback, some good energy, and I'll be happy to read them out
Yeah.
loud. Just tell
Yeah.
me what to do, Rob. I got you.
Tell me what to do to Rob.
No, tell me what to do, Rob, Rob, and I
Oh.
got you. Now, listen, if y'all have feedback and it's like, hey, like this is what you should do to Rob, then just DM that to me. We'll talk about that off air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chappell, on Sunday night, we got together for our big Survivor draft, second season running that we did that. Had a lot of fun going through all of that. A couple of notable events from the draft.
Yeah.
I believe it was pick number 10.
Yeah.
Your second pick.
Mhm.
It was, some say, the highlight of the draft when
Yeah.
Shannon Gus had 9 people in her top 10 already
Mhm.
drafted. And you were the one person ahead of her with the possibility to stop her from getting the 10th person on her list of 10 players to get. And you selected Zach Wurtenberger, the Ika tribe member who was
Yes.
voted off this week. Now,
I did.
it was a highlight of the draft where you sniped him from Shannon Gus, which was the high point.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely one of those moments where the meme was right there. Like I had to do it. Candidly, I would not have picked Zach in that spot. I told Shannon afterwards who I would have picked. Who she ended up picking. I believe it's Lydia. But for the sake of the meme, I had to do it because Shannon was like, it's statistically improbable that you could get this last one. And I'm like, is it, considering this person literally said your name on the podcast? Like, I'm pretty sure I could figure this one out. So yes, for the moment, for the meme, for the video, I did what needed to be done. Now, Zach, you better Wurtenberger became the grenade, much to my chagrin, but I'm fine because the meme lives on,
Mm-hmm. And have you heard from Shannon since Wednesday?
No. Because don't get me wrong. We've seen some tweets. Shannon has very much basically weighed in on whether or not I should be counted as the grenade because Zach, you better Wurtenberger has not been.
And just in case people didn't watch the draft,
eliminated.
we had a rule that we started last season of if your team, there were 6 people in the draft, everybody had 3 people, but if you drafted the person who was the first boot, that was a grenade that disqualified your whole team unless the other 2 members get to the final 3, even if you have the eventual winner on your team.
Right. And so Zach was the grenade. And there was question because Zach was not the first person eliminated from Survivor. They were the first person voted out. But as we know, Jackson had to leave, was basically medevaced essentially from the game. And so there was question of, does Asia have the grenade? Because of Jeff's verbiage when he said that Zach was the second person
player
voted out.
Right.
Exactly. But I am willing to accept my punishment as the grenade because I did it for the meme. It was, it was all in on the moment. Shannon said, you're probably not going to get the 10th person, the person on my list. And I said, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Call my bluff. And so I did it. And
you were drafting for All-Stars, right?
I was drafting for All-Stars. You go big or you go home. And I did both those things.
You did. You did. Okay, we got a question from definitely not Chappell. So to be clear, Chappell didn't get the grenade, right?
I think I got the grenade. Like I really do. Like if the alternative is that Asia has the grenade, then I will happily dive on the grenade. I take it. It's mine. I did it, and I stand by what I did. If I had the opportunity to do it again, I would definitely let Shannon just get the grenade. But
let me just ask a question. So definitely not Chappell is somebody who is just sending in questions as you. Are you being catfished?
Well, it said Rob. It says not Chappell. Like, can you
definitely not Chappell? Right?
Yeah, 100%. So maybe it's not me. It's definitely not me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would you think it was me? It says definitely not Chappell.
Okay. So, all right. So, who are the other people on your draft team?
I drafted first Marianne.
Yeah.
And I drafted Mike as well.
Marianne and Mike. Okay.
at the beginning of the episode, I felt really good because when they went to the mat chat, the initial like, welcome to season 42, the monster's coming. Let's get some words from each of the tribes. They hit all of my draft picks. I was like, this is good. All of them are getting highlighted in this moment. I was sadly mistaken. This was not good. So I'm hoping Marianne and Mike are along for this world.
I know you love Marianne, big fan favorite to start off the season. How were you feeling about Marianne after night one?
What else could you ask for here? I mean, like I said, I picked her because her personality and like it's just her joy is infectious. I am a person who enjoys joy, and so this just felt like a no-brainer. I don't know how to feel though about Marianne long term in the game because we really didn't see a lot of strategic talk. I mean, there was just like some questioning, should I get on the boat? Should I not? But one thing that does stand out is her energy. Like she's very like very, very happy. But then there are moments like when Jackson got voted out where she's very, very sad. And I remember watching her reaction to Jackson getting voted out and thinking like, oh my gosh, if that's how Marianne looks when she's sad, I'd never vote her out. Like I would never want to be in a position to make this woman cry like that. Are you kidding me? Like, so I don't see how you can blindside somebody like that. Like you kind of have to.
It's a good point.
How do you vote that person out knowing that like you're gonna break their heart or at least they're gonna wear it all over their face? I would be terrified to vote out Marianne. Like you got to get her before the merge.
I feel like that Marianne story ends with it's like a tribal council where everybody's just talking about how like how could we let her go any further? She's so great. Like we're sorry, there's nothing that we can do.
It's the Elaine problem, right? Yeah. Elaine's like, well, what do you want from me? And they're like, nothing. It's time for you to go. So maybe Marianne is gonna find a few idols or win a few challenges, but that happens season after season where all the people kind of look at each other and just say, it's you, and there's nothing this person can do about it. And so I can see that coming, but I'm going to be optimistic.
Enjoy the ride.
We're gonna have a good time while we get there. I was pleasantly surprised by Mike though.
Can I ask you just one other thing on Marianne before we move on to Mike, where Marianne was asked by Jeff about, what is it like for you to be out here? You're so excited, woman in the front. Tell me about what it's like. And she talked about how that people didn't think she could get on Survivor.
You dream about this, you dream about like going on Survivor, and then you're like, and all your friends are like, Marianne, you're not going to make it on Survivor. Like so many people.
Does Marianne need new friends, Chappell?
Yeah, of course. Like,
why were her friends such haters of that? If you were friends with Marianne and she told you, I want to be on Survivor, why wouldn't you say, oh yeah, I think you'd be really good. They would love you. Like, no, not you, Marianne. No one would like you.
I think it's one of those things where Marianne is very enthusiastic about things that she likes, and there's probably the friends that know that they have to be a little bit more grounded than Marianne in certain situations and say, like, Marianne, yes, you could go and be electric television, but also you don't really like to be outside in the bugs and the water and stuff like that. Maybe it's one of those things where someone's just kind of like, I hear you, but think about these things, because we see all the time where people's friends tell them you would be great on Survivor. I'm pretty sure Zach Werdenberger's friends told them that they would be fine. And I'm not saying Zach didn't do his best, but it didn't work out. So I think you have to have the friends that are able to say, hey, this might not be for you, or go, but keep your mind open to the possibility that it doesn't go well, And so
it wasn't even Marianne's friends who she said so many people told her you'll never get on the show. Even her family tried to steer her away from this.
My parents are both originally from Kenya. When I told my mom I was first interested in Survivor, she was like, Median, why are you interested in this show?
Yeah. I mean, fair question though.
100%. Like, you want to do what now? I could even imagine, like, my parents are not Kenyan, but like even as Black African Americans, they would definitely be like, why do you want to go on that show? Like, what about this show appeals to you? And I'd be like, you're out there on an island starving and physically exerting yourself to one day get voted out and not win money and then possibly get ridiculed by social media. So like, oh, okay, that's what you want? Sounds good. So I'm not shocked that her parents were confused. I know mine would just be like, okay, something's wrong with the kid, but it's for certain people.
Why are you interested in this show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Question for all of us. Yeah. But, Chappell, the evolution of Survivor, where that 20 years ago when I played Survivor, not to be come off like an old head, I meant to say I meant to start off the podcast with you, and I wanted to say that like Roxroy.
Let's get crack-a-lackin'.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's like Roxroy was like, I'm 45 years old. And he also said, let's get crack-a-lackin'. And those two things are aligned. You know, like, those two things go hand in hand. You didn't have to tell us your age once you say crack-a-lackin'.
Yeah. But he did say he was the old head in the season. And so I can relate to that from Roxroy. But when I played on Survivor, and you know, some listeners like, wait, you were on Survivor? Yes, it's true.
Yeah, Lydia wasn't alive.
Yeah. And when I did, it was like, this was like, nobody would say to you, hey, you shouldn't do this. Everyone was like, oh my God, this is incredible. You have to go do this. It sounds like that there are all these people that you say, I want to be on Survivor now. And everyone's like, no, don't do it. What are you crazy? What's wrong with you? Why are you doing this?
To be fair,
why
I'm
you
pretty
like
sure
this?
I'm pretty sure some people were told not to do Survivor back then too, and just did not listen.
Some people get told don't do Big Brother Canada, and they don't listen.
It happens. They don't respect our opinions. You know, you don't have to do this. You know, just because you want to play Survivor doesn't mean you have to. You can want a lot of things. You just don't necessarily have to have those things. But yeah, it's a different time, Rob. Back then, it was like you go be on Survivor and you're gonna be mega famous for a season and a half.
You got to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to do it. You can get called back for All Stars. And then, you know, one day start a podcast network. He's like, if you laid that out for me in 2000, I was like, okay, I'd give it some thought. But now it's like, what's the high point? If you win, you get a lot of money, but it's not really that much money anymore. And if you lose, you lost. And then you always say, well, I could have won. Next time will be better. So you might be onto something, Rob. Maybe Marianne's family's right. Maybe we should start second guessing ourselves on applying for this.
Yeah. Why are you interested in this show? Okay.
Yeah.
You had Mike on your draft team. That was Nicole's winner pick also. Ooh. Nicole, very high on Mike. How are you feeling about Mike after one episode?
I like Mike. I was afraid that Mike would bring Roxroy energy. So Roxroy is like, I'm an old guy and I'm the parent of the tribe and I'm going to be bossy. And I was like,
get crack-a-lackin'.
Oh, what are you doing? Let's get crack-a-lackin'. Let's get it popping. Yes, partner. Yeah, so I think I was very nervous about Mike possibly being that guy like to come in and want to take charge, but I think he's done a really good job of like ingratiating himself. And he said something really funny on Twitter. I want to say it was something to the effect of like, now his kids have to watch him walk around in his underwear. And I thought about that and thought like, dear God, I would just be vomiting. Like if it was my dad, you know, like, or something, or like people's parents go on Survivor all the time, but yeah, like that's something that you never want to see, you know, like even though the man is like ripped, it still don't want to see that from your dad.
Yeah, that's a really astute observation, because I feel like that, going back to like when we have the family visits on Survivor and Jeff is like, what's it like being the parent? But we almost rarely get to hear from people, what's it like being the child of a survivor, watching your mom or dad on national television?
Right. Like think way back 20 some years ago, back to the Kathy Vabrick O'Brien days. Right. And we love like the relationship with her and her son, but she peed on a guy.
Yeah.
You know, like you're going to school the next day and people are like, your mom peed on that guy. And if you're a good sport about it, that could be great. But also if you're not, it's like, yeah, I don't want to be the guy everybody's talking about. Like mom's pissing on everybody. And so, yeah, I think it could be pretty tough. You know, you go from seeing this person always buttoned up and clothed to seeing them on Survivor half naked. I don't think, but we need to start interviewing the kids. Maybe that's what it is. That's the real after like the season's over. Those are the real interviews we need to find out what the kids are saying and how they deal with this ridicule at school, because it has to be coming.
Okay. Chappell, what was your other big takeaway from the episode?
I mean, everyone's talking about the fake blood, Rob.
Yeah.
How do we not discuss it?
Did you like that?
Did I like the fact that it was an option to have fake blood out there? No.
Yes.
I just don't understand.
You don't? Well, okay. I feel like you podcast about The Walking Dead. I feel like you like seeing fake blood.
Like is a strong word, Rob. Like I deal with it for the sake of media. But no, I think It's absurd. You just like, okay, your goal was to go untie some paddles, but then for some reason y'all all come back looking like y'all have been attacked by a certain, like a wild animal. Like it at some point, High looked like he's like basically just survived the Revenant or whatever. Like it was just a moment where he's like, why are you covered
Texas
in blood?
Chainsaw Massacre the other night, Leatherface.
Yeah, check that out on Nothing But Netflix. We definitely talked about that. If you haven't already listened, then check that out. But yeah, the fake blood being there it ended up being fun. You know, like the survivors really got into it. And I think it's because their adrenaline's going and they're trying to like the game just started. They're moving very quickly. But I want to say, like, if cooler heads had prevailed, you just do a little dab or something of blood on your shoulder or something like that. Like it ain't gotta be covered in it. But it produced the funniest moment of the episode for me because when High gets back, they're like, "Are you bleeding?" And he's like, "Yes." I'm like, wait, why would you say that? Like, if they don't know it's blood, just be like, "No, it's paint," and just like get in the water. But just to like emphatically yell, "Yes, I'm bleeding." At some point, someone's gonna inspect you and try to figure out why you're covered in blood. And you even see Lydia saying, like, no, you're really bleeding. Like, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
They never bring in a medic at any point, especially now that I think about it. Daniel's arm is like just hanging off, just dangling, and they don't stop it. They don't stop the challenge. They like, keep the party going. Like, I don't understand.
At the end, we'll take a look at it.
Yeah, but since when? What happened? Like he mentioned Stephanie LaGrossa, but if you think back to Heroes versus the Villains,
they stopped down the challenge, right?
And they're like, "Hold on, everybody freeze. Let's pop it back in." They let him walk around with his arm hanging out the entire time. Like that had to be a risk, don't you think?
Yeah, I wonder if that's on Daniel, and maybe this is something they need to like say to the survivors of like, "Hey, if you are so badly hurt and you can't continue, like hold it." They're like, "Hold on, stop the challenge." Like we've seen Jeff do that before. Where they just stop, like think about Russell Swan, like there's plenty of them they stopped the challenge, but I think that because Daniel was on his feet and kept going, that they didn't stop down. It was just sort of like that. I mean, Jeff commented on it, but it didn't seem like that Daniel was like writhing in pain or anything like that.
Right, but that's the thing. You can't leave this in the hands of the survivors. We've already decided that they make poor decisions by going on the show, and so like. If this person is willing to put themselves through that kind of grueling pain, they're not going to want you to remove them from the game. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Russell Swan, but it's not like Russell Swan said, "Jeff, I just don't have it in me. Lord, I don't got it." Like, no, Russell Swan basically died and they saved him. And so like, they're not going to tell you, "I can't compete anymore. Take me out of the game." We see that with Jackson as well. Like these people are going to make decisions and put survivor before their health. And so I think someone has to be on hand to say like, "Hey Daniel, your arm isn't moving. Are you fine?" And even if Daniel says fine, be like, "No, we really need to talk about it." You know, like maybe just stop anyway. It might slow the challenges down and kind of ruin the momentum, but I just feel like that could have been a huge liability. Like, what if it was worse than it, dislocated, at that point? What if he fell on it again? I just don't know. So that was weird, but at least the High money moment was funny.
Yeah, I think that the question would be like, has that ever happened to Daniel before? That in Heroes vs. Villains, that Stephanie had like comments that like, "Oh, this has happened before. You just need to pop it back in." That for Daniel, it seemed like that this was the first time that this has happened to him. So like, I don't think he was, calling attention to it.
Yeah, you could see the fear in his eyes the moment it happened. And Daniel has some kind eyes. I noticed that throughout the episode. I was like, that guy looks really nice. But at the same time, I was like, he is terrified. He's terrified by the pain. And then he looks, if possible, even more afraid when they say, like, "We might have to remove you." Like at that point, he's like, "Just put it back in. I don't care how you do it." Yeah. Right, it might need surgery, and then you see real fear. But no, I doubt this has happened to Daniel before. Daniel's a soldier, just based off of like the things that Daniel went through with the leukemia and stuff. But like, you had to know that this was like his worst nightmare. That has to be anybody's worst nightmare, honestly, to be on the, like day one, right out the gate, and like have people staring at you with the cameras in your face. The lights are getting hot, and they're like, "Oh no, we might have to pull them." Like at that point, you're like, "Just rip the arm off. Just take the arm. I'll be fine." So. Yeah, Swati's giving up pinkies. Look at these people. We might need to reevaluate this cast specifically. They're putting their body in harm's way.
They definitely are, and really, you shouldn't. No,
no, it's not worth it. I mean, trust me. And I say this as a person who could really use that money, but it's still not worth it. Like, you keep your body intact.
Chappell, I have a question for you from the great Felipe Shimon, who
Who is
has
that?
a question for you about the fake blood on Survivor and its utility. Here is Felipe.
Rob, Chappelle, what is up? It is me, the Brazilian
What's
Dragon,
up?
Felipe, aka Rob's biggest fan. And I have
Sure.
2 quick questions for you. Number 1, what would your excuse be with the fake blood, fake mud? Well, how would you sell that to the tribe? And then number 2, and my more important question, how would Miss Mabel Simmons, aka Medea, do on Survivor? And who from the MCU would be the best at Survivor? And why is it Bam? Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Yeah. Chappell, it sounds like
Felipe's wild.
Felipe is asking for a Medea Cinematic Universe Brant Steele.
Oh my god. I mean, listen, in the off season, if it gets that stale, I guess we could do it. I don't know if we have enough people. We can probably come up with enough people, but Rob, you'd have to watch all the stage plays and all the movies before we can do that. I can't.
Okay.
If you're not going to do the homework, I can't.
Okay.
Like
It's on
podcast
me.
with you.
It's on me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But Felipe, that was very funny of a question. First off, this fake blood thing. At some point, when High yells out, "I'm bleeding," like, like, "Are you bleeding?" Yes. You got to stab yourself. You got to commit to the bit. Like, when you come out of the ocean, you have to have like a wound or else,
Wow.
because he had so much blood on him, Rob. Like, bite your lip or something, like, like you got to do something. But I think they were just able to, like, maybe once you get in the ocean, because you kind of wash it off, maybe you come back. Like, I don't know where the blood was coming from. I'm sure it's like, it's a very tiny, tiny wound that was just bleeding profusely. But there have been seasons where, like, Dr. Allison probably would have like tried to save you.
Yeah.
So you got to have a better lie than just like, yes, I'm bleeding, but why? I don't know. You got to have something. Commit to the bit.
Right. Well, I mean, you have Omar on that tribe also, right? Who?
No, Omar doesn't care about people.
No, sorry, I'm getting my tribe's confused. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
trying to
Omar
get there's a
doesn't care about
medical.
people.
Yeah, there's a medical professional there. Yeah.
No, if Omar is like, oh no, you're a person bleeding, I'm not interested. But if you were an emu, Omar would be right on it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. All right. How do you think Medea would have fared on Survivor? Because look, famously, Tyler Perry loves Survivor. So you have to think that, Tyler Perry, he writes up all these scripts. I'm sure that he must have like kicked around in his head, how would Medea do on Survivor?
I'm shocked that Medea hasn't had, like one of those cutaways, where they talk about Medea going on Survivor. We've seen Medea go to Maury. We've seen Medea, like, go on Oprah, Dr. Phil. Medea's everywhere.
As dream sequences, yeah,
dream sequences, but flashbacks. We see Medea at the bus boycott. Telling Rosa Parks to get off the bus. Like, we've seen Medea everywhere. Medea just performed Beyonce's Coachella set. So if Medea can do all that, I'm shocked we haven't seen Medea on The Edge of Extinction or something like that. If there's ever a Celebrity Survivor season, where Jeff is involved, I could see Medea coming on as the celebrity. But let's be very clear. Medea is someone who will, like, you either got to vote her out first, or they're gonna win the old game, like, and just win with them, like, and leave the tribe with an iron fist. Everyone's gonna be too afraid to vote them out, because she will shoot you. And if you're not familiar with why Rob and I are talking about Medea, it's because we covered a Medea homecoming on Nothing But Netflix a week ago, and we got great feedback, Rob.
Great feedback. Yeah. One of the funniest podcasts we have ever done.
Oh yeah, I could not stop laughing. You, myself, and AJ. It was hilarious. But no, at no point would I ever say Medea needs to be anywhere. Actually, keep Tyler Perry far, far away from my Survivor. Like, I never want to hear Tyler Perry's name and Survivor in the same sentence. So after this conversation, we're not talking about it again. Like,
yeah. All right. You mentioned Omar, and he, in the opening of the show, talked about what his life is like as a veterinarian, and I thought it was interesting enough to talk about.
As an exotic animal veterinarian, you never know what you're going to see when you come into work. It might be a tiny canary with a fractured leg, or a giant rhino that you have to put your hand up its butt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like, there are people who are chosen to do this kind of work, but like if I go to school to be a vet and then you're like day one, there's a rhino here, you got to put your hand up his butt. I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit my job. Yeah, but Omar, this is Omar's thing. You know, he wants to help the animals. He says he wants to act like a non-threatening pigeon, but then actually be an owl. Rob, I've actually spoken with Omar about this. I got an inside scoop.
You've spoken with Omar?
Well, not talked, you know, but we've exchanged some DMs about this.
Messaged.
Well, he messaged me. Hold on, you know, I don't be talking to these survivors. I don't like them. No, I'm kidding. Omar seems
about
great.
about which thing? Not the rhino's butt, right?
No. Even though I do have questions. No. I think Omar said the awkward part of his persona is that owls are actually very stupid. They're good hunters, but they're very, very dumb. And so for Omar to be saying this, I'm like, oh, Omar, like think higher of yourself. You're not an owl. You're more like a pigeon. You know, be a pigeon. If owls are dumber than pigeons, then be a pigeon.
Interesting. But the owls have a much better reputation.
Yeah, they look smarter. They're like me. Like when I put my glasses on, people are like, "Oh, he's intelligent." Then I take them off. They're like, "Oh, this is a clown." Stop it.
Wise old owl. Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe they're just like, yeah. I guess you get wisdom when you get older, but I think we should stop assuming that. Like, I think we should start assuming the worst of people. Like, you're just old, you know, and that's okay. Yeah. Sometimes you can just be old and not wise. Yeah. Yeah. You could be an old head.
Let's get crack-a-lackin'.
Yeah. Rob, I will flip this table over. Stop that. You stop it now. But I think Omar is hilarious. I think the funniest part of Omar is the big emu t-shirt with the little underwear, like he's almost Winnie the Pooh in it out there. And that is so funny to me because you want to talk about people's family members being embarrassed of you. Like if you're out there in like the Moo style big t-shirt, like you're like a nightgown, I'm always gonna laugh. Like he's rocking the Medea. Yeah, but I love it. I love Omar. I am kicking myself. Well, I could have done nothing different. Let's just be very clear. I did not get the first pick, but Omar would have been my first.
He went second in the draft, correct?
Yeah, and I got the third pick, so I didn't get a chance to get Omar. But I would have picked Omar first, and I am very happy with what I've seen on TV so far. Aside from his very dainty legs, I hope to never see those again. But we'll be seeing them for a few weeks coming up. So.
Yes. Okay. You feel like that those are not like end game survivor legs. You want to have like a lot of lower body strength.
I just in general don't like to see people's thighs. Like I'm not a thigh guy, you know, and I see a lot of Omar's thighs. You know, very pigeon like, very, very owl like in that makeup. But no, Omar's fun to watch. I'm very excited to see how they play the game.
Okay. All right, let me give you another question. Here's one from our great friend, Megan, the librarian.
Yes.
Hi, Rob. Hi, Chappell. This is Megan, the librarian calling. Happy new Survivor season. Yay! So I'm intrigued by the amulet twist. I feel like this could lead to some very sneaky behavior. What I would like to know is, WWCD, what would Chappell do in this situation? I'm also wondering if Chappell has any ideas for more twisted advantages that could add some drama to the game. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay.
I like the question, but I'm not a twist guy. You know, like I like watching chaos, but I don't never want to be a part of it. I like to like observe the chaos. So this would have been very funny to have me in that situation. But Rob, break it down for me. So the amulet twist is that like if they're all three in the game, then the amulet advantage is very weak. But
very weak. All three of them can combine to get one extra vote. Which they give away just basically. You know, you go to Chappell Island, you get an extra vote. I mean, this is like nothing. Yeah.
Would it be better if it was an idle nullifier? Like, I feel like, you know, since this thing can go to the final six, I think you want that instead. Like, I'll keep y'all around if we can stop, you know, like the Marianne of the season from just like, you know, like if she gets to the end, she's gonna win. It's like, well, she has an idol. Well, luckily, the three of us with our powers combined, you know, like, you know, we can stop
potentially. If this was going to work, where like this might have been better hypothetically if maybe one of the tribes win, and tell me if you think that this would make more sense. Let's say one of the tribes wins reward, and then we have a situation where that they go and get a reward, and then randomly, like, they sit at the table, and then instead of 3 people from different tribes, three random people from the same tribe end up getting this. And so now you have a situation, because there's no situation where these 3 people from 3 different tribes are going to end up like trying to work together to get an extra vote. But maybe it might end up making like different alliances than you would normally have had, where almost like in sort of like, I guess, the idea of like a Team America, where it's like, okay, well, these aren't the people that I chose to work with, but now I'm sort of like incentivized to work with these random people. And then maybe you could have 3 people sticking together, even though they wouldn't have normally, because they are incentivized by the event. I'm not sure if that's necessarily better TV, but I think if you wanted to really have people struggling with, should I work with these people, or should I, like, there's almost no way that 3 random people from 3 different tribes are going to stick together.
Yeah, it's you do this at the merge, maybe, like do this where like the tribal lines are already drawn, and now you're like, okay, I understand that you really trust these people and that you really want to go to the end with these people, but now there's a bounty on that guy's head, and you can't beat him anyway. He's your number 1 ally, and personally, you can't beat him. So it would behoove you to switch, to another alliance. But you hate these people on that alliance and you really don't want to work with them. But how are you going to get out the biggest threat? And so, yeah, I think something like that. You make sure that they're all on the same tribe, maybe preferably a big tribe. So it's not like, 3 out of the 5 people on the tribe have the thing and they just realign. So yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be drama if they all make it to the swap, because I feel like
if there's a swap.
If there's a swap, yeah. Like, so if they swap after maybe like the next episode or 2, and now you have 2 out of the 3 people on the same tribe, then those 2 people can now be shooting at each other. They know a very like big secret about each other, but they also are incentivized to not work together. And so, yeah, I think that would be cool. I think the issue is that if that one person is swapped to the tribe, and they're like in the minority, it's very easy to be like, well, let's just get them out now because they were already going to go. It almost marks you in a way, if you end up with somebody else.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't love advantages like that. I want your advantage to be an advantage, and like it's not like they knew about this and had the option to leave it, right? They found out about it and were like, oh, I have this thing. Like, now you're stuck with it. It's on you. It's not like you could give it back. So. Yeah.
Well, I do think it will be an advantage for the last person left here for this. But they are almost like in their own like prisoner's dilemma that those 3 people are all facing.
Right. And you can do this every season until it works well. Like, I really do. Like, because one day there's going to be a moment where the 3 of them are all together at the merge,
right?
And, and it's going to align. I was just like, I don't think you can count on it happening all the time.
Right.
And so, yeah, I don't hate it, but it just sounded very dumb, And
I
why
wonder
is the amulet the key?
That I don't know. Well, the logo for the season, and you could see, if you're watching the YouTube, you could see the logo above us. That this logo is. I'm going to try to be polite. But yeah, this logo I feel like is maybe an early draft of a logo.
Oh, yeah. They hadn't gotten signed off on by all of the people involved.
They ran out of time and they had to do the season.
So do you think the logo will be a clue to anything like in the past? We've seen where I think it was basically a map to in the one season that nobody likes. Edge? No, Island of the Idols.
Yeah. We've seen the key. We have to imagine that this big padlock is going to show up at some point, right?
Right, and there's a maze there.
And
if you study the maze, and now all of a sudden, when the mage challenge happens, you can just like breeze through it because you have the key.
Well, do you think that this will be? Is that a table maze, or do you think a maze that you will have to run through as a person?
I don't think having a table maze beforehand helps, and table mazes normally have like holes in them sometimes, so it looks pretty tame to be a table maze. Maybe it's like the big like hedge bush maze or something that they normally do. Didn't you compete in the maze challenge?
Yeah, but it wasn't made out of hedges. I don't think that they
Yeah, I
have
don't
to
know.
do that on
They've
Survivor.
never done that, but that's how I imagine those mazes to be.
Yeah. Yes.
I watch a lot of TV.
Yeah, we did a blindfold maze, which don't get me started on that. But I'm wondering if from a graphic design perspective, if the Survivor designers are hoping season 43 has a theme.
That's the thing, though. Back in the day, it was easy to do these probably because you knew which random location you were going to be at, and you could make the buff or the logo kind of indicative of where you are.
Yeah. Survivor
like
China. That's easy.
Right. Earth's Last Eden and stuff like that. Like you want to do that kind of stuff.
Chappell, what's going on with your timer?
I don't know. I think it's my alarm. I think it's very early in the morning for me.
Mhm.
Normally, I try to sleep into the wee hours of the day, roughly 4 or 5 p.m. But
otherwise you're
it's
not going to
in
get the
AM.
Chappell o'clock. Yeah.
You gotta look. You gotta rest in the morning. You can't. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. But I think like if you looked at the buffs in the past, I think they mean something, and so I just don't think this logo means anything yet. They can make it. If this key thing becomes a very big deal, then maybe it will lead to something. But right now, it's just the key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Does their key open a lock that has these advantages in it?
I don't think the amulet key should have any more power than it already does. Like, could you imagine that? Like, you do all.
Well,
of this
maybe
work.
that's where the thing. Like, maybe like there's the three thing. Like, a one key opens the box that has the idol.
Oh,
Maybe the key is the idol. I guess I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But Chappell, one other thing on the amulets, that did they do it backwards where should the things have been the most powerful if the three of them stick together, where we have like if High and High and Lindsay and Drea, if they work together, it's like a god idol, like it's the Tyler Perry idol. If they work together, like, do we want to see this sort of like exile alliance idea of three people that nobody would suspect working together? Because it's actually in some ways similar to last season where with the secret phrases, and we have this as well, the idea of knowledge is power, where that potentially only the people that have the beware advantages would know where the other idols are. And so that's like another version of this. Like, do we want to see three random people having to try to figure out a way to work together as opposed to three random people trying to figure out a way to have to target each other?
I don't know. I'm torn because we've seen this already in the past where like we basically have brought people who have no like knowledge of each other to a random spot and giving them this incentive to work together. I'm thinking Ryan and Chrissy, even just like, I gave you this thing, now we're a team, and it works. And those alliances normally do well. Even like you said, the Exile Alliance where they can like Taj and Steven and that whole thing. But like that's been done, and this hasn't been done. So I'm fine with it, but I do think like I would much rather see them all trying to work together. But this is kind of like just throwing chaos into the mix to see what happens, like do something different. So I'm not.
Which I feel
think I think it would work both ways, but I do think this is more interesting, just as a concept.
Which is why I think it would appeal to you, that it's just basically, injecting this chaos into it.
Yeah. Again, I like to watch chaos, but if I played Survivor, my head would explode if I found out like you just randomly gave them this thing and they just because they were over there. That's not fair to me. But that's why I would never play this game, and I wouldn't be good at it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about another question. This is from the great Navi. Navi has a question for you, Chappell. Has Chappell ever brought up Harry Potter to bond with his students or any of the young heads out there?
Oh, man.
Okay. This is what, just to reset, Tori, in an effort to bond with Zach and Swathi, said this.
Wait, so do you like Harry Potter?
Yeah, I mean, I read all the books.
There you go.
And all
True
the
fan.
movies.
You
And
know
I'm
they're
from
not a
Florida,
true fan
so
if
I've
they're
been
like-
to the wizarding
yeah.
world. Like,
Have you ever had butterbeer?
Of course.
How is it?
It's delicious.
I'm going to try to be very kind to Tori in this moment.
Yeah.
And I'm coming back to Navi's question, but I think had Tori not told us that this was contrived and that they were doing this, almost as an act, maybe it wouldn't have come off so transparent that it was fake. Like, have you tried butterbeer? Like, Tori, you're 50 years old. No, I'm kidding. She's just like she's older
I mean,
than
she's
but,
older
you
than
know what I'm
them,
saying?
but I don't think by
But-
much. Is she 25? Yeah.
I think so. But here's the thing. I'm not calling her old. I'm very much older than her. What I'm saying is like, just like, have you tried butterbeer? Yeah, Tori, that was like a novelty years ago when Harry Potter World was new. But it's kind of like, hey, you kids, you want to like, I would like to purchase one weed, please. It's like, oh,
Yes.
Tori, like it
Hey
feels
kids,
transparent.
what's crack-a-lackin'?
Exactly. Like, don't say that to me ever and ever, Rob. But like that's why I said maybe had she not telegraphed it, it wouldn't have come off so transparent. Like they were able to put the music on top of it to kind of make you feel like, oh, okay, this is not something that it's coming off like very like a real connection. Because Tori gives me Spencer Raymond Bledsoe vibes this entire episode. It's very much like it's so
They have a
clinical.
lot in common, I think.
I think so as well. And so like
A couple of things.
a few. And so it's funny because I was like, you telling people that you're making fake connections is like it doesn't go over well. Like I understand you want to get like a mastermind edit, but I didn't like it from Spencer and I don't like it from Tori. But that being said, the Harry Potter thing is just low hanging fruit. Like I think
Yeah.
Stephen Fishback said it the best. Like who hasn't? Like they're 22 years old. Yes, they saw Harry Potter. It's like I don't think you deserve a pat on the back for that. Like actually ask them stuff. Like if it was me, I would definitely lie about being interested in TikTok. I was like, yeah.
Have you seen all of the TikToks? Have you seen them all? You're a true fan.
Yeah. Have you seen the Hype House? It wasn't that great. Like
The
that would be-
dances, everything.
yeah, that would be me, like pretending to know what an e-boy is, like a little anemic. Like that would be me. But Harry Potter, no, I wouldn't use that to bond with somebody, especially because like. Of all things, really, you can't find something a little less controversial than Harry Potter. Like right now, that's not like this topical reference anymore. That's very like did you always gonna get a positive
Tori
response
does
from?
not shy away from controversy. Okay.
So I've heard.
Yeah.
And that's their business. I wouldn't lead with that.
Yeah.
I'm sure the 22-year-olds are talking about something else.
Can we talk about just the big picture about how Tori's doing out there? Because I know that this got a lot of attention from this past week, but I felt like that overall, I watched the episode back. I feel like that Tori came away from this in a pretty good spot.
I don't know because we know that Tori is on Romeo's radar at the very least.
Yes.
And we also know that Romeo has Drea's ear because Romeo was able to shift Drea away from Zach and to kind of put the attention on Tori. And so I think if you have Drea's ear in this tribe, I think that is a person who's the most powerful because Drea's not getting voted out. This tribe cannot afford to lose anybody with any type of physical strength right now. And so I think because Drea's going to be here for a while, I think Tori could be in danger. I think she really needs to be working on trying to build a bond with Drea because I know Zach Werdenberger said that he wanted to play like Todd Herzog, and I was very excited to see that happen. But I really think Romeo might have stepped into his spot, kind of latching on to the person with power and making himself an asset to them. So I don't know. I don't know. Did people feel very strongly about Tori's position after the episode?
No, I don't know. I think it's sort of like people feel like I've mostly seen that she's in a very bad position, but I think that has sort of been a little exaggerated. I don't think it's quite as bad. Now, if they go to tribal council again, yeah, it's probably going to be her just because, that's the nature of these small tribes. I think Romeo might be in the best position in the tribe where that I think that like on the like first glance, when Romeo makes the alliance with Drea and Roxroy, I think you think of them as a 3 and that Romeo is probably the 3rd out of that 3. But in my interview with Zach, he talked about how Roxroy was talking about that they should vote out Drea. We saw Drea in the episode say it's got to be Roxroy. So I don't think that they are nearly as close as that. I feel like that Roxroy is sort of like being like they're going to let Roxroy think that he's the leader of this group. Probably Romeo and Drea are closer. But Swathi seemed to be going to Roxroy with what she wanted to do. I don't know. It's like it seemed like that she was closest with Zach from what we saw in the edit, but we don't really know where she is. So I kind of think that Romeo, like as you mentioned with Todd Herzog, might be the person who is really sort of like the little finger behind what's going on in this tribe.
Yeah, he's a swing vote. He really is, because Tori has nowhere else to turn but Drea right now. And she doesn't know that Drea was about to vote her out. Like, Drea would have easily voted her out once Romeo got in Drea's head and said, you know, like, we can't get rid of Roxroy. There's just, and I don't want to get rid of Zach. And so Roxroy has his natural pair in Swati. They seem to have bonded. And so if Drea and Tori are a thing and Roxroy and Swati are a thing, Romeo's in the middle and he can go either way. And it's one of those things where he already came after Tori once. And so, you know, this next group, if him and Drea decide to get a wild hair and decide, well, maybe we don't need Roxroy, then Roxroy will be gone next. You know, and so I think you're right. Romeo probably is making the decision here. I think Drea just kind of got frustrated with losing, honestly. Logically speaking, there should have been no reason why Roxroy was even in the running to go home, just because your tribe is so outmatched, like outmatched. You had no chance in that challenge at all. And even like they were talking about how they were down one person, you know, because of Jackson's exit, everybody had to use 5 people, and the tribe was designed for 6 people, right? But let's just say this tribe had all 6 people and everybody else had 5. They would have only had Romeo to help them in addition. And that, I just don't think that would have been, like, no disrespect to Romeo, but Romeo said they were like 112 pounds coming out on the show. Like, you lifting this heavy boat up and pushing it up a hill is probably not something that Romeo is going to be super strong at. And so I think getting rid of Roxroy in any situation where the challenges are going to be that physical is a mistake. So yeah, I don't think it was a bad move to shift it. I think Romeo probably should have pushed harder on the Tori thing. Like, I really think that they did lose a step. Like, I think last season you would have seen Shan get Tori out, whereas Romeo kind of took his foot off the gas a little bit.
I think it was hard because where Tori was like now aligned with Drea, I think it was hard to now say, like, get Drea on board with when she felt like that's okay. I have something going now with Tori to throw her person away. I think it was, you know, harder for Romeo to, you know, just keep dragging Zach forward in the game.
Yeah, but I think what you do here is you go after Roxroy. Like, because we know Tori was willing to vote out Roxroy. Tori legit said it. And so if Romeo has that information, and we don't know if they do, but if Romeo has that information, you go to Roxroy and say, Tori wants you out. Like, but with Roxroy, we were presented with Romeo saying, I just don't want to get rid of Zach. What he should have been saying is, Roxroy, I want to work with you and Tori wants you out. We got to get Tori out. I think Roxroy would have immediately been like, okay, fine. You know, like, but I don't, and like I said, that conversation
he would have been like,
let's get crack-a-lackin'.
When I walk out of here on this video podcast, all right, God, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But yeah, I think that is where Romeo could have pushed harder. If you sell Roxroy that, well, it was gonna be you. Like, it's really not between Tori and Zach. It's between Tori and you. Then I think that's where you get everybody on board.
Yeah, I just think that we have Roxroy, who is the biggest guy on this tribe, where I think that you feel like that he did help them win the first challenge also, where he was able to, you know, pull up the jailbreak and get the flint. For whatever reason, it seems like that people felt like that was not his challenge when they ended up losing in the immunity challenge. But I think that where Romeo, he didn't see season 41. He didn't see how it went for Shannon Ricard. I think it's been a minute since, you know, Denise and Malcolm came away from Matt Singh. So I don't think he necessarily wants to, you know, get it down to 2 people in his group.
Yeah, this tribe is a hot mess. Let's just call it what it is. This is a hot mess. There's no reason why Roxroy should be targeting Drea. You should look at that tribe like we all did in the preseason and say, this tribe is going to struggle at challenges. What can we do to avoid that? Unless you're fine with going to tribal council like week after week. You know, if you're fine with that, which we've seen happen before, where they vote out the strong person and just continue to lose, but it doesn't matter because we have a strong like nucleus of people, and then like you didn't whatever lose a few, like vote out the fluff, and then y'all will get absorbed by somebody else probably or swapped into something else. But if you want to win, like if you feel like you're in danger, if you go to tribal council, then yeah, by all means you should be keeping the tribe strong, and it would take a lot to keep this tribe strong. Voting out Roxroy or Drea is just not the answer.
Okay. I want to go back to the tribal council because I thought there was something interesting that came up where Jeff asked Swathi a simple question.
Mhm.
So Swathi, basically, how are you doing?
Swathi, you nervous?
You nervous?
If I could cut off a finger to not be at tribal tonight, I would. I just don't want to be here.
You would give up your pinky.
Yeah.
Swathi, why are you like this?
Listen,
Nobody
asked you to volunteer that. You could have given up something much less.
Absolutely no
rice.
Nolan,
Right.
Swathi, cut off my fingers.
Like, you know what? Take a finger. And just like, I was just gonna ask you how you were doing. Yeah, take my finger, please. Like, Swathi, give up rice, give up flint. There are other things that you could just hand to Jeff to not go to tribal council. It won't work. But if you're bargaining, you don't start with a pinky. Like, if I could shave my head, Jeff, maybe that's something you do. But a pinky, I like my pinkies, Rob. I like to keep them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
could you imagine sacrificing your pinky to go home the following week?
Yeah, to go 3 more days on Survivor, maybe even 2 more days in a 26-day season.
Right. Or maybe you get dehydrated or something. Like, now you've given up a pinky and now your body's just starting to fail you. What did you do? No, I don't think this is the move, Swathi. You don't have to give this up. Jeff doesn't want your pinkies. It's fine.
Well, maybe this could have been a good spot for the fake blood of just sort of hide it and then Jeff, I cut off my pinky to keep the try. Like, oh my God. All right. Swathi's been through enough.
Well, we know they're not going to stop the challenge. They're just like, Swathi's pushing through. She looks like she's in so much pain. Like, her finger is missing and she's bleeding profusely. Yeah, no, that's a horrible spot for the fake blood. Just at that point, you have to go home, Swathi. Like, you've given up a finger. It was a choice, but I think people are still trying to figure out what their persona is going to be like here. We saw Zach trying to make a couple catchphrases or be like, he was like the go-to guy for the entering tribal council moment. So I feel like they're just young, they're young, they're impulsive, they're saying things.
Yeah. Well, Swathi continues. So Jeff says, okay, so you'd cut off a finger to stay here for one more vote.
For the rest of your life to survive one tribal.
Yes.
And if you came back next tribal and I said the other pinky.
I think past day 7 or 8, I would stop giving up a finger.
Right, so 2 digits.
Yeah. So one finger's not enough.
2 pinkies. Rob, you give up 2 of your fingers.
Yeah.
You make the merge, and then there's an hourglass twist, and you go home. I want my pinkies back.
Yeah, burn it down.
I want my pinkies back. I want my pinkies back. Stitch them on.
Hypothetically, if I could have given up a pinky to go one more vote in Survivor All Stars, I think about it. Because I'm going to go very far. Because they don't go to a tribe that my tribe didn't go to they didn't go to another tribal council till they're voting off Lex at that point. I think I'm probably in the final 7. Just gonna get one more vote. Knowing what I know now.
Knowing what you know now.
Think about it.
Yeah, but maybe the outcome of the challenges are different now that you're out there with missing your pinky.
I'm sort of missing a finger.
Right. They're like, Rob's a liability. He's a liability in the challenges to vote him out. And people are like, yeah, we should do that. I don't think that always works out for you, but it would have bought you some more time.
Pinky toe?
Pinky toe. Okay, that's different. Rupert basically did a whole season.
I lost my toe already.
And they were like, shut up, Rupert. Either go home or keep it on the playground because we can't do both. You can't complain about the pinky toe and still be out here. Yeah. Well, I think he hurt his big toe, so that's a bigger loss than the pinky toe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I hope that Swathi doesn't do any other mutilations of herself to stay in the game.
I mean, how bad do you want it? These people, they really, really want it. That's why I said you can't leave this up to the survivors to make the decision. They would have had to physically drag Daniel one arm off of the beach because he wasn't going to stop the challenge. If my arm pops out of my socket, I'm screaming. I'm like, it's Jeff, help. I'm just like, what? It's it's popped out. It's it doesn't hurt that bad, but I definitely want you to fix it right now. Yeah, these survivors don't care about themselves. We should really look into the psyche vows now.
Okay, Chappell, do you have a winner pick? Is it Marianne, your first draft pick?
No. So it's kind of my brain is saying go with Omar, right? Because I would have picked Omar first. My heart is saying, man, it'd be cool if Marianne won. It would be great. Emotional roller coaster. It'd be fun. But my gut is saying Jenny Kim Spradlin. That is where I'm going. Yes. Queen Jenny.
Yes. You went right to her as well. You've been talking about her on social media. What is she doing that you are so impressed with?
It's funny.
She's counting the triangles.
It's not the counting the triangles. It's the revelation that, oh God, I'm doing this on my own. You know, like she looks up because I am not a math person. I would have. I think Jonathan got to 11 before they were ready to guess.
Here, let me play that clip real quick.
6, 7, 8. I'm getting 11, dude.
I'm up to 36.
Oh.
This isn't my strong suit, so like he saw 30 more triangles than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean 25.
Yeah, I would have definitely gone to half. I would have been like, well, I got 11, you got 36. Let's split the difference. Like that's what I would have been useless here. And Jenny's like, I guess I have to do this on my own, but also, I have to do this on my own. Like I'm surrounded by crazy people, and I like that. Jenny had a couple good moments in the episode, and so for me, Jenny Kim Spradlin is my winner pick just from a gut. Like I really want to see. I want to see that. I want to see Jenny navigate the game. I really wish I had picked Jenny in my draft. Like if I could have a mulligan. But I would have had to lose Marianne, and so I can't do both of those things. So I was in just a tight spot. I get really bad draft position, Rob.
Yeah. You gotta work it out with Taryn.
He has to lose this one. I mean, don't get me wrong. I lose, so I should essentially get the last draft pick next year too. But I automatically lose for having the grenade. But I do feel like if I had a better draft position, I wouldn't have gotten Omar still. There's no way I was going to get first pick. But I probably could have got, like, if I could have figured out a way to get Marianne and Jenny at the same time, like that would have been a dream combo. But yes, I'm rooting for Jenny Kim.
Okay. Chappell, are you ready to talk about some of the things from Survivor social media? I really want to make that a bigger part of the feedback show this season because I feel like that there is a lot of fun to have with the cast, different things going on with the Survivor alumni. And that's a thing where I really want to highlight that here on the Survivor feedback show.
Okay. Do I have to create a Twitter account for this, or are you going to just tell me?
When you say to create a Twitter account for this, what would you create?
Because I'm not on Twitter, so.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that would be ideal if you could create a Twitter account. And then,
I'll consider it.
Yeah, then you could partake in all of the wildness going on here in Survivor. So, yeah, that would be wild. Yeah.
It seems a bit chuggy,
A little bit chuggy to be on Twitter?
Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah.
Like a pinch. Like I think it's aging out. I think I'm too cool for Twitter.
Oh, well, you say that, Chappell, but that we have Lydia, who, as we know,
as a young woman, as a Gen Z, I feel way outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah. As a Gen Z.
Yeah. As a Gen Z like myself. Like we're watching Harry Potter.
As a Gen Z. Okay, but here's Lydia is on Twitter.
Yes. And is Lydia a good follow on Twitter?
Well, let's we can investigate a little bit here because a lot of people, Gabby referenced this as well, but this was probably the most viral tweet in all of Survivor Twitter this week. Lydia at Lydia_Meredith. She goes by the handle Lydia Chlamydia.
Okay.
Okay.
Is she okay? Yeah.
Lydia Chlamydia says, I actually think I have the biggest, fattest, juiciest ass in hashtag Survivor history.
Oh, okay. That's a thought to have.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Lydia was just talking, or do you think like Lydia has done the research? Like, has Lydia combed through the archives of Survivor history and like really examined some of these asses?
Do you think that Mike Bloom needs to start to put in the legwork for the Outwit Out Play Out list of Survivor's biggest, fattiest, juiciest ass?
I thought you were going to ask me
the
if I thought
BFJ.
Mike Bloom. Yeah, I thought you were going to ask me if Mike Bloom had the biggest, fattiest, juiciest ass
I
in
think not.
podcasting.
I think not.
You don't think so? He not caked up?
I don't think so. I mean,
you mean to tell me
that
Mike Bloom is not double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon? I just refuse to believe it.
I've met him in person, and
what that ass like?
Yeah. Well, I will say,
do that ass sit, Rob?
Does it sit right?
Is it sitting? Is it sitting, Rob?
I don't think that is his number one
sit, Rob?
feature.
I, on the other hand, was a man whore.
I mean,
that ass fat. Then I could see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Good question.
I think that I just look personally. I don't have to know if Mike Bloom has the fattest, juiciest ass in
the
Survivor
BFJ,
history. Yeah, but like, does it sit? That's the question. If it be sitting, then you got to give it credit where it's due. I think Lydia is being kind to themselves. I don't know this. I was not checking out Lydia's quote unquote biggest, fattest, juiciest ass. But I think if there was like a ranking done, I wouldn't be involved in it. But I also don't think Lydia would probably crack the top like 1 or 2. Maybe they're like top 5 or something. I don't know. I haven't done
top 5. That's pretty good.
Look, I feel like they're going very high, so I'm just going to cautiously aim lower, and I'm sure it's somewhere in the middle. But again, I have no insight into that at all.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see if we get any updates on this ranking.
Rob, have you considered stealing Lydia's tweet? Rob,
and I should say that I have the BFJ,
the BFJ ass in podcast history. I think you should you should just like throw down the gauntlet. Make Mike Bloom call your bluff. Like if you claim it first, Mike Bloom can't have it. Y'all both can't have the biggest, fattest, juiciest ass in podcasting. So like, who is it?
Who is it? Who is it? I don't know.
Who is it? Well, Rob, you tell me.
I don't think I want that smoke. The people that are saying that they have it, I don't. That's not me.
Yeah, then y'all have a what is it? A BFJ off. You gotta like battle it out. The Brent Steele of biggest, fattest, juiciest asses in Survivor or podcasting. Survivor podcasting. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is something that if you're going to explore it, I don't want to be involved. But I do want to.
You don't. You
No.
don't. I thought that this was going to be you were the judge.
No. I will determine if it is a valid critique. Like if you tell me and like this is the results, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe do a recount. I'll do that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like
so,
I think Lydia would get along with TikTok Nicole. Like I feel like they both have like the chaotic tweet energy. I think Lydia had posted a meme or something that like said like no more girl bossing, just girl resting, girl sleeping, and girl laying down, etc. And that gave me TikTok Nicole energy. Like this is something that TikTok Nicole would tweet out. I think they'd be good friends.
So
yeah,
Chappell, I mentioned that Gabby had referenced this tweet the other night. She said she should be in consideration. I mean, that's like again, not my place.
Gabby said that.
Gabby said that.
Okay.
That's whatever.
Oh, she thinks she a top 5 biggest, fattest, juiciest ass in Survivor history.
That's what Gabby said.
Look, these people are.
And I sat there awkwardly. Yeah.
I mean, you brought it up to me. I was not prepared for this conversation, but like I said, if y'all want to talk about it, we can talk about it. I don't have an opinion. I'm just going to stay out of that. But I think if we have to do a draft of the biggest, fattest, juiciest asses in Survivor history, and if Gabby needs the endorsement,
you might get the grenade again.
Who will? Who? Not if I vote for. Like, if you think Gabby would be first out?
Well, I
was
don't know.
My chips. I trust her. If Gabby said it, it must be true. So I trust her.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know Lydia. She knew in the scene. Like Gabby is a battle tested Survivor player. If she says she has the biggest, fattest, juiciest ass in Survivor history,
BFJ,
I support her. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Now that might not be the thing that Gabby said that you take exception with.
Oh. Well, again, I don't know. I don't know Gabby's BFJ, situation. I'm just following the conversation.
Okay. Well, let's talk about her INTJ situation where
Oh.
Gabby came for some different systems that people are working with on the
Okay.
TikTok and beyond. This was from my conversation with Gabby the other night, and several of our listeners, including Tommy Guam, John, wanted to hear your reaction to what Gabby said with me. This is from Gabby Pascuzzi recaps Survivor 42, episode 1.
There's a lot of crap on TikTok too. There's a lot of psychology crap on TikTok. But and people are reading about their attachment style, and people are trying to figure out what their Myers-Briggs personality type.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that are Enneagram. So a lot of things that are not very scientific.
Oh, you don't like that? You don't like Enneagrams?
It is not real.
The shots fired. Oh my God.
Well, what I'll say about it is it's like, yes, if you take a test and you're describing things about yourself and then it gives you results where it's like, you are like this, like that is, it's going to tell you what information you self-reported.
Yeah.
But
so what is real, Gabby? What about the 5 love languages? Is that real?
No. And you know what? I was sad to learn the
God.
5 love languages. I mean, it's
We're gonna she doesn't like that either. All right. By the way, I just want to say Gabby was incredible on the recap podcast. If anybody missed that, that is 2 hours, 5 minutes of incredible podcast with Gabby. But Chappell,
And I have to follow that up?
Yeah. You and
That's
I
incredible.
back in I believe it was December of 2020 podcast
Earlier than
about
that. Yeah.
the it was earlier than December 2020.
I feel like it was earlier than December. Like I feel like, or it was one of those things where we were talking about it for a while and we couldn't really figure out what we were going to do together. Rob, you pulled a Gabby. You were like, "Well, I really want to play with you," and I was like, "Oh, okay," And then we figured it out. But I think it was around that time. You're right.
Okay, breaking down Enneagrams with Chappell, November 21, 2020. So you are
Look at me.
correct. Okay.
Yes. A moment
Sam,
in
can we
time.
can we make a link to robhasawebsite.com/Enneagrams so that people, if they want to go back and listen to that podcast, because then I saw some people because a whole Twitter storm erupted after this. Let me bring in a tweet from, of course, great friend of the pod, Evie Jagoda. Okay. Evie had this to say about Gabby on the podcast. Evie said, "Wow, I used to think at Gabby Pascuzzi was one of my favorite Survivor alumni ever, but now I'm listening to her tell Rob Cesternino that the Enneagram is fake, and I feel so betrayed. Still love you at Gabby Pascuzzi, but the pain is raw right now."
Yeah. It's like, okay. I like Evie. And I don't feel the pain though. Like, cause hear me out. Gabby is a good Survivor player, a very intelligent person, very well read in these matters, very studied. And so scientifically speaking, I have to trust Gabby. Trust Gabby. If Gabby said it ain't real, it ain't real. Comma, but you don't come to Gabby to talk about things that are fake. When you talk about stuff that's fake, stuff that's made up, you come to me. I'm the expert. So yes, Gabby can speak on all that science because Gabby is right. But the fake stuff, that's my bag. And look, I know I said we gotta trust Gabby, but the big fat juicy ass thing, like at this point, who are our sources? Is Gabby just making stuff up? It's really hard to know at this point. But yes, I think Gabby's 100% correct.
And you have the biggest, fattest, juiciest Enneagrams out of anybody.
Yeah, big heavy ones, heavy Enneagram, big heavy Enneagram energy.
BFJ Enneagrams, yeah.
Big fat juiciest Enneagram. Yeah. Okay, so
your Enneagram circle is round and yeah.
It's juicy. It's voluptuous.
And it's lots of triangles. Even some more than 11.
God.
Yeah.
No, that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot to unpack. So when it comes to Gabby's statement, I think that Gabby's definitely correct. This stuff is not rooted in any science or whatever. But I think when it comes to Myers-Briggs and stuff like that, if it speaks to you and if it helps you in any way, whether it's your horoscope, your Myers-Briggs, your Enneagram, your love language. If it helps you, then why not go for it? You know. Also, Gabby doesn't know her Enneagram number, and so I feel like if she knew her Enneagram number, then she would buy in a little bit more. See, she's where you were. Yeah, she's still where you were before I met you. You know, like she's like, I think I'm a 2, but it could be a 4, and maybe I was a 7 and I changed. Like, see, Gabby, you haven't done the research. Check out the podcast. We'll talk about it, and then DM me when you're ready to talk about things that are made up, because I'm ready.
Yeah. Okay. You know me. I'm a big fan. Good. I'm a believer.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, look, if this is the thing that's going to align me with Evie to target Gabby in life, then yes, I'll take it, because an alliance with Evie is amazing. But like, me and Gabby are cool. I thought Gabby was going to be upset with me because of the David versus Goliath podcast. Like, I thought, like, oh no, once yeah, I thought once Survivor podcast, podcasts start dropping and the players start listening, they're all going to hate me because I'm like talking crap about their games. But no, this is definitely a personal attack by Gabby. Like, it's much deeper than that at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, who knew?
Chappell, were you a fan of the game within the game?
No, I didn't even. I missed it. Like, it happened.
You missed it last season. No. Well, I'm asking past tense. Were you a fan of it? Because a lot of Survivor fans noticed that the game within the game was MIA this week.
Oh, so is it gone forever? Like, it's just not.
We don't know. I didn't even realize it, but then I was on an Instagram live. Check me out on Instagram, because I do like to go live and talk with different people that come on. And I was chatting with your friend of mine, Naomi Calhoun, and she brought up to me that, hey, did you notice the game within a game was gone?
Yeah. Look. As far as I'm concerned, it's wasting time on our screens. You know, like, we want Survivor.
It was on for like 3 seconds.
It's 3 seconds I could have had back. You know, like, you tell me that 3 seconds that we could have given to Marianne, but you gave it to a Rebus puzzle. I'm out of here. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know about it. Like, this is a good cast. I think the people on this cast are interesting, and so I don't want to take away from them. And then, like, were the kids really game within the gaming? Were the kids logging in? I think so. Every week?
Kids really liked it.
Are you sure? Like, have you surveyed the kids?
I did. I asked my son Dominic, who's 8, and he really could care less about the rest of the episode. And he would say, "Dad, can we do the game within the game?"
And what about Anthony?
He doesn't care.
Okay, exactly. Look, like I'm saying, 50% Rob, that's not good enough.
Really, and it's hard for me to get, like, my son loves Big Brother, but it's that for whatever he doesn't really connect with Survivor at this point in time. The only thing about the premiere that caught his interest was, I said, Dominic, you know, there's a lot of fake blood on the premiere of Survivor. They gave them fake blood. On. He's like, Dad, I would watch that part.
Yeah, tell me more. Tell me more about the fake blood. Like, yes. Dominic, somebody has the biggest, fattest, juiciest fake blood in Survivor history.
Fake blood.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's like, okay, I'm in.
Chappell, do you feel like that it's wild of all the things that did get brought back? Of let's bring back Ship Wheel Island. Bring back the Beware advantage. Bring back the triangles. Everything they said, no, need that. Game within a game. All right. Yeah. That we don't have time for that.
I mean, I guess if you have to cut some stuff, the game within the game is probably one of the first things that I would cut, because, like, why are we doing this? Also, maybe Jeff isn't breaking the fourth wall anymore. And I mean, that was just for one season. Now he's like,
well, he did break the fourth wall to open the show.
He also inserted himself into the game to have a whole separate conversation to Jackson. So maybe we're going to see a lot more hands-on Jeff. You know, Jeff just shows up at Tribal Council like, Lydia, come talk to me. I've seen your tweets. You know, maybe that's something that's going to happen. But it's less, you know. I think in 41, it was very much like, let's see if we can get people hooked on the show. And then I think they realized that, no, I think Survivor has like almost got like a shot of adrenaline from the pandemic. You know, like, there's a lot of people who had never seen it, and a lot of people who now are binging all the seasons so that they can be self-proclaimed super fans of the show and go on the show to do well. Like, it's more accessible. It's something you can study now, where in the past it was a lot harder to do that. And so, yeah, I don't think we need the game within the game. I think it can go.
Okay. Chappell, Ricard Foyer at Ricard Voyer tweeted out about how close the seasons were timing wise. Ricard says that Jackson and I were out of our respective seasons 1 week apart, and Heather and Zach were 1 week apart. Hashtag mind blown emoji, and then a bunch of other hashtags.
So the next person voted out is going to be voted out basically when as a final tribal council.
But yeah, I guess so.
Like a week.
But Chappell, this is wild because that based on what we know about the quarantine process. So I don't think we've never had this before, where the players from Survivor 41 are playing, and then in a different location, the Survivor 42 players are quarantining.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I mean, I guess it's how you have to do it these days to make sure you don't take a huge break from Survivor. Is there a world where they try to do 3 seasons in a year now that they're just doing them back to back, like essentially just having them on like a rotating like scale?
Yeah, well, take it with a grain of salt, but that the Inside Survivor, which does like sometimes get the information out early about what's to come, did report at one time in when Survivor was gearing back up to make up for the year that they lost, that there was some talk about maybe doing a third run of Survivor, that they were going to try to film 3 versions where one would air in the summer of 2020 and then a fall edition and then a spring edition. But that I don't know how serious that was or if that was just a rumor.
Would you like that?
If they did it, like, where we have the challenge, and there's like lots of ways which there's overlap between the challenge and Survivor. Some would say,
really, do you want to dive into that or no?
No, I would say that we'll hold off until the time is more appropriate to do that. But
fine,
if you were going to do, say, like a one season, which was like an all-star season, because the challenge that they use Paramount Plus, where there are regular versions that are on MTV, and then they have like an all-star season that's only on Paramount Plus. I don't know if Survivor would ever consider doing this, but what if you did? It's the new era, new players are going to be on CBS, but head on over to Paramount Plus, where we're going to run Survivor second chances. So, Survivor, some all-star edition, which was going to be on Paramount Plus.
Survivor OTT.
Survivor OTT. And maybe it's like a little, maybe it's like a shorter format where I don't know how much shorter than 26 days you want to go, but maybe it's not 18 players or what, but it feels like that with Paramount Plus, you could do more with the Survivor franchise.
I don't know, Rob. It sounds ghetto. Sounds a little ghetto, a little hood. Because I would hate to be on like the 3rd Survivor season. Like everything else is on regular TV. It's getting a lot of hype, and then you're like on the online Survivor, like like boo, like we already have that kind of stuff.
Are you a challenge guy?
No. And I think the reason why is I feel like it's oversaturated, and I think that's I personally wouldn't be a fan of 3 Survivor seasons if you're gonna just throwing everybody on here. Like for the challenge, it felt like after a while, like I was like, why is this person on here? Why is this person on here? But if you're having 5 seasons a year, then it's kind of like, okay, you kind of have to overlap people and grab random people you wouldn't.
That's fair.
Wouldn't get. But
would you say? Chappell, would you say that the challenge is the BFJ of all of the franchises? It's just like there's so much that they're just packing in there.
Yeah, it's overpacked. The BFJ, it's very. I don't know if it's juicy though. It's more like an artificial, like thing. Like it's packed in there, but it's solid. It's like the Brazilian butt lift of reality TV shows. Like
augmented.
It happened.
Yeah.
It happened. And
yes, filler in there.
It's shapely, but what is it really made out of? Like a McDonald's chicken nugget, like really what's in there? We know it's not all chicken, There's other stuff. The filler, there's a lot of filler. It makes it very solid. So you get a lot of solid seasons of the challenge, but do it really make you feel good? Do you enjoy it? Or are you just like suffering through it?
Very good points.
Yeah, just saying. You know, like just like it's the J is the most important part of this. Like big and fat is something that you're going to get from any season. You can do that. That's artificial. But the juicy part, you need the juice.
You need the
You gotta
juice.
move.
Without the juice,
season's
you have
gotta move.
nothing. Yeah.
You have nothing. Like if you can't smack it and it don't jiggle, then it's not a season of the challenge. You know, it's just, this is regular. So that's what I say. I think they need to move in the J direction and stay away from the BNF. They got the BNF down.
Yeah. Like an old owl. You are so wise.
I'm very old, but I'm
Like
far from wise.
Like an old head owl.
Yeah. Let's get it crack-a-lacking, Rob.
Get it crack-a-lacking.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is wild that they had, basically like these two casts that are there at the same time. And, Jeff is like finishing up with one person and then like 4 or 5 days later. I mean, this must have been especially grueling for the production.
Yeah. But I guess if like they're already out there, it's like, what, like just go ahead and knock it out. Maybe they just start recording them back to back. I think also for seasons of television where maybe the weather is a concern, maybe you do it all where it's not hurricane season or not the rainy season. So you knock it out so they don't have to deal with this kind of stuff. Because think about it this way, with the season being so short, we cannot afford to remove these people from the game for 3 days and put them in a bunker like they did in the past seasons. Like you really can't let the weather stop you at this point. So I think that all the seasons moving forward are probably going to be a little bit sunnier. Just knock it out when the weather's good. Do 3 of them at the same time. Jeff don't even have to be on all the islands at the same time. Like day 1, you got this whole separate show filming. Day 2, you got a whole separate show filming over there. Just keep them all in rotation.
Yeah. So you feel like
what's
that,
Jeff really doing?
Yeah, Jeff should be like on a sitcom, like where a guy is on like 2 different dates at the same time and just running back and forth between the 2 casts.
Right. According to Cochran, all he wears is blue shirts anyway. So he's just blue shirt over here, blue shirt over there. Who would know the difference?
Move back and forth. Okay.
Yeah, he gets some names wrong, but aside from that, like, who amongst us?
Yeah, I mean, and if he wants it, it's just like a woman in the front.
Yeah, exactly. Woman in the front, your smile. It's like, you already said that, Jeff. Oh my God. And then like goes an extra. Woman in the front, your smile, like he can use the same lines.
Oh, wait, I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Yeah.
That's why he can't like stop the challenge in mid challenge because Daniel's arm is falling off. He's like, I'll be right back. We're like, Jeff, please.
I'll be right back. Deshaun just said something. I gotta go. Deshaun's gotta do or die. Okay.
Right. I'll be right back. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of season 41, the season 41 DVD just apparently has dropped, Chappell.
Oh yeah? Do you have a picture
and it's
of
a
that?
new
Can I
era.
see that?
It's a new era. And so Ricard actually also tweeted this out. What do you think of the DVD cover for Survivor 41? It is basically Jeff walking alone with the torch.
He's got like the LL Cool J pant leg rolled up. Yes, Jeff. This is a handsome like DVD cover. I like this.
You like this better than where we have 6 people? I guess it was the problem that we couldn't pick the 6 people for Survivor 41.
No, I don't think that's the issue. Like, I think
who would it be? Who would it be? Well, it's always 3 men and 3 women,
right? And I'm going to put Erica in the middle because she won.
Okay.
In the past we've seen Survivor don't even care if you win. They'll put Rupert in the middle if they want to.
They've also put the whole cast. Like I think that so maybe they've gotten away from it in. I don't know if they did for what they did for Winners at War, but I think for 39 and 40, which 39 was also, weird call to go with the whole cast. So maybe they don't do that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Survivor was more character driven in the past. Like where it was like the people who went on Survivor were household names, yourself included, Rob. And so yeah, we wanted to see you on the front of a DVD cover. I think now with the way the game is working, like I think it's more about the game than it is the people. They do a really good job of highlighting the people in a better way than I think they've done in the past. But it does feel like let's give you something because we're not going to give a lot of character moments throughout the season. Like, so we just going to like break away of like the interpersonal relationships and showing those and just start showing like, okay, this is Mary Ann, but this is Mary Ann's background. This is her family. She's weird. And then they move on. And so, yeah. And then also, I don't really think it's fair. Like Survivor gets to pick who the stars of their season is. Like, don't get me wrong. If you don't pop on TV, you're probably not going to end up on the DVD cover, but also they can edit you to look however you want. So I think going with Jeff in this like Jurassic Park-esque cover is a safe bet. Now, I don't know what you do for season 42, right? Is it all just different versions of Jeff? Like, is Jeff on like the jet ski? Is Jeff parachuting? You know, is it Jeff like standing on the top of a mountain? Like, what? How many variations of this can you go with if you're just using Jeff?
I think they just go with the picture of Hai like with the fake blood, like rubbing it on himself.
Like, that's his skincare routine. Yeah.
Yeah. And just to confirm, yes, season 39 does have the entire cast.
Every
in the
person?
2 tribes. Every person. No,
See,
no one redacted.
I would have gone with redacted. Like, I would have definitely redacted certain parts. You don't have to do every like
or have like the logo strategically placed.
Right. Just like or blurred. You know, we love a good blur in Survivor.
And then season 40 also has the entire cast. Season 41, nobody. So
well, I'm fine with season 40 having the entire cast because, like, for me, like there are certain people who probably wouldn't have made the cast DVD cover based on their placement. You know, so I'm happy that, you know, they get to be on the cover, you know, just because I like to see them. Yeah, but I don't know how long you can keep this going. Like, at what point, like, Jeff has basically become the model for the DVD cover. So, like, are we gonna have Jeff snorkeling? You know, hang gliding? Like, what else can we do with Jeff? Because he doesn't actually play the game.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we'll get him at Tribal Council. But it's not a lot that we can do there on the Jeff still frame. Okay, speaking of other CBS hosts, so for the first time in my recollection, Julie Chen Moonves has come out to say that she tweets, either you slay the game or the game slays you. Are you all watching? #Survivor42, #Survivor. And she has Michaela sipping the tea.
Yes.
At Tribal Council.
Michaela's an icon. I wonder if that's an NFT.
It should be. It should be.
I'd give a pinky for it. Yeah. What is Julie talking about? Since when does Julie... First of all, when did Julie start caring about Survivor? But also, like, when did Julie start saying you need to slay the game? Yes, Julie, yes. You know?
Yes. Well, Julie is now watching Survivor. So I wonder if there will be any Survivor coverage or Survivor interviews coming to her YouTube channel, God 101.
Yeah, the Julie and Marianne interview will be very fun. I'm sure they could bond over God. And then there will be probably other interviews that probably don't go so well, but
probably not. Yeah.
Right.
Do you think that Julie will do exit interviews?
Oh, if that's the case, then I think we should be looking for Zach, you better Werdenberger soon. Yes, Julie, slay, you better Werdenberger.
Yeah. Chappell, that of course I love Julie Chen Moonves' YouTube channel. God 101 has a lot of great interviews with the Celebrity Big Brother contestants that I have been sent this a couple of weeks ago by the J Mackey, who here's a moment from Julie Chen Moonves' interview with Kathy Lee Gifford. You know Kathy Lee?
That's Hoda's friend, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I'm familiar.
Says about me, and he has to flee.
Yeah, Satan is a loser and a liar.
Father of all lies.
That's right. That's right.
Don't forget.
Yes, God. Preach.
Yes.
Preach. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get thee behind these. Like, yes, Satan. Get out of here.
Well,
You're a loser.
A huge loser.
Julie taking us to church. Yes. Yes, Julie. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, God. We're ready to have church up in here, Rob.
Yes.
Julie's trying to take out
We're
to
ready.
Yes.
We're ready.
Go on, Julie. Go on.
Okay.
Preacher.
So we'll see if Julie has any sort of updates on the season as we go along.
Julie about had me shouting over here. I was come on, Julie, take him to church. All right now. Okay. What? Okay, Julie.
Chappell, Jamal, our friend Jamal, took some exception with something that Jeff had said this week. Jamal said, do any other alums take it kind of personal when Jeff goes on about a new era and turning page and hyping up the danger this season? Like we didn't experience all that? Come on, Jeff.
Yeah, that's a tale as old as time, though, right? Every time you come off a Survivor season, the very next seasons or two, you're like, oh my God, back in my day, we had to walk 15 miles through the snow in China,
Mhm.
and like we had to vote out people with 2 idols, like all these urban legends from yesteryear. I think Jamal's probably right. Every season, Jeff has to hype things up. He has to get everybody pumped. He has to say this is Survivor like never been seen before, because otherwise you're gonna say, is this show still on? We still doing this same exact format? So I don't know what Jamal experienced that was so much worse than some of the other seasons, though. Like, I feel like if you start ranking them, I think Jamal's season was probably light on the danger in comparison.
I mean, for
just 'cause-
Jamal personally, like he had game danger. He pulled a thing
Yeah.
and then he got voted out of the game.
Yeah.
He pulled a string and an anvil fell on his head. So
Exactly.
for Jamal
Yeah.
personally, game danger, definitely.
But this is a new era. Like, Rob, I like the outfit changes throughout the season. Like, have you gotten into that? Like, you come on with like multiple playable outfits.
Multiple Lukes. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. Listen, we talked a lot about Lydia, but when she had like the was it floral deal with the bucket hat on? Like, yes, Lydia. She was like, I'm not playing with y'all.
Mhm.
You get multiple outfits from these people. I remember back in the day, they had you out there in the wife beater.
Well, no, that's a
You know?
throwback, Chappell, because we did have multiple outfits. We had multiple outfits and then they got rid of them.
Yeah, like it's so crazy because now I'd be looking forward to say like, okay, how you gonna pop out at tribal council now? Like that would be part of the game for me. I would be sitting there at camp like, are you looking for it? I don't know. I'm trying to decide which shoes I should wear. Like, really, what are we doing here? Like, I think even Wendell like popped out with some J's on Winners at War, and I was like, yes, Wendell, but also, are you really risking that on Survivor? Like drip or drown, but also some J's. You don't want to put your shoes at risk. But I do like the looks. I do. I think that would be part of the game for me. I would definitely be planning the outfits strategically.
Yeah. I rewatched the episode last night. They were really standing out to me as well. Any other ones you want to highlight? Who else's looks did you like?
Again, we talked about Omar and his Winnie the Pooh
emu shirt. Yeah.
And it's a good shirt. Mike's green like firefighter shirt, it really kind of dope too. I think it was like a St. Patrick's Day thing. But
coming up this week. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yes, green beer. It's coming. I'm off. So that's how you celebrate.
You get
right?
green candy corn.
Do you think they have that? Do you think they have like St. Patrick's Day candy corn? Because listen,
I'll order it for you if they have it.
Gosh. Well, the joy of candy corn is that it's seasonal. That I only have to come back to it in October, and then I can enjoy it even more. Like that's why I said we don't need to oversaturate the market with extra seasons of the challenge, extra seasons of Survivor. We just need the biggest, fattest, juiciest jar of candy corn in October. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was a real fake out where, St. Patrick's Day candy corn. It's a paperback book.
Whoa. Tomato, tomato, tomato. I'm throwing tomatoes. I'm throwing apples. They're harder. Like, no, don't play with my emotions.
Maybe it doesn't get made. Sorry about that.
Yeah, again, seasonal.
Sorry to tease you like that. Yeah.
No, they're just trying to get you going and start to prep. We got several months before October, and so you got to start to get hyped up for candy corn season.
Get hyped up. Okay.
Yeah.
So, just going back to this conversation about the looks and the different shirts, I thought Roxroy, Loki, hey, he had a very nice blue shirt. Did you see that?
Yeah, it was the button down, right? Was it like a kind of like a Hawaiian shirt? I'm remembering. Yeah, I liked it.
Look good.
Who is it out there who got like she's got like the not the Kangol, but she's got like the beret on to start? Is that Mariah? I was like, okay, like they really switching it up. I don't know why Lindsay went out there in the cardigan style blazer situation, but there was a few where it's like, okay, if you're gonna go to tribal council, you got to step out, drip or drown.
Well, drip or drown. It's true.
Drip or drown.
So Chappell, that I tweeted out during the episode on Wednesday night that I was especially impressed with High's shirt. Did you catch that? It was very. Go back and check out the episode. It was a very, very nice, short sleeve, plaid shirt.
Okay.
It was short sleeves. I gotta confirm that. But no,
sounds like your impact is being felt.
Yes,
You know?
I'm sorry. His long sleeves, but he had the sleeves rolled up. Great, great plaid shirt. I tweeted out, "I want High's shirt," and during the recording of this podcast, response to me from High, it's Club Monaco, Rob, at Club Monaco.
Yes. This episode of Rob Has a Podcast is brought to you by Club Monaco plaid shirts.
Yes.
Yes. If you were gonna get a plaid shirt, but then you got high, please check out Club Monaco. Da, 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 da. I had to do it. I think I'm sure I'm the first to make the joke for this season, but it's mine now. Like, the draft don't count. This is canon.
The draft doesn't count.
Nah.
Okay. Then some people had asked us to talk about you mentioned early on about Survivor Guy. Survivor Guy is back.
He is. Sorry for you.
Sorry for you. We talked about it where Jeff, if you don't know what we're talking about, Google Jeff Probst's Survivor Guy. Yes. You'll get some interesting interviews about how Jeff was visited by Survivor Guy, who informs him, and it was like, oh, well, this is all fake. But Jeff's new catchphrase is in the show, and here it is for the first time in season 42.
All right, Ika. Tribal council tonight. There's also the punishment of losing.
Yeah.
Got to give me your flint.
It's okay.
Thanks, Romeo. Sorry for you.
Sorry for you.
Jeff, you got to commit. You can't just like passively try to throw this phrase out there. Like if you got a catchphrase, you gotta be like, sorry for you, or like, hey, sorry for you, you know. But he like, sorry for you. Like, Jeff, you don't even believe that. Yeah, you don't even believe that. Like, or just yell at them. Be like, hey, Ika tribe, sorry for you. And they're like, oh my God. And they're like, give me that flint, take it. Yeah, Jeff, I need some more enthusiasm, but behind this.
Sorry for you.
He don't believe that. Like, you're just saying that, Jeff. You don't believe that. Like,
sorry for you.
No, he gotta feel it. Like, what if he said, like, in all the fixins? Like, nobody would believe that. Like, and try, like, yeah, give me more energy, Jeff. Damn, this is a new era. Sorry for you. I don't know. Survivor Guy, you let me down. You're letting me down, Survivor Guy.
Yeah. He's not sorry.
No, he's not. Good. Why are you taking these people's flint? Did you see what they had to go through to get that flint? Like, oh, can we talk about that challenge, by the way? So
we could talk about anything you want.
People prepare for Survivor in plenty of different ways. We know people watch seasons, make spreadsheets. They get in shape.
True.
They memorize puzzles.
Yes.
By now, shouldn't there be a concrete, like example of what is the best way to tie these bamboo sticks so that you can use the jailbreak challenge? Because this challenge comes up all the time. But if you ain't practicing tying twine around like random sticks, I think that is probably the more valuable skill at this point, because it happens all the time. And we see tribes made or broken by this exact thing.
Well, tell me if you think about this, because I was thinking about this challenge earlier today, where Roxroy ends up being the person who wins it. So good job there by Roxroy.
Let's get crack-a-lackin'.
It's starting to grow on me.
Yeah. I wonder, like, how big of a deal is reach? Roxroy, the tallest person, he was going up against High and going up against Mariah. That I have to think you're standing on a thing, but you're putting the thing out. Like, I got to think that Roxroy has to. I mean, his arm is going to be, he has probably maybe like almost like a foot further reach than Mariah does. That's like one less thing that he has to tie. I think you got to put your tallest person out there for this.
Yeah, I think this is immersive strategy right here. Like we're getting into it, and I think that's something that you have to talk about. Like, people prepare for this game in so many ways, but I've never heard anybody say this is the optimal strategy for this challenge. And so, yeah, I think you want the person with the longest arm who's going to need less stick, but also maybe somebody who's really good at tying knots, or and I'm sure people practice untying knots. But do you practice tying knots to go on Survivor? Probably not.
You should.
Yeah. Or should you or is there an optimal strategy of do you need to put the sticks on top of each other? Do you need to alternate them? Do you how much stick can you give before it starts to get flimsy. I just think that it's something that should be explored. We should talk about it. Not me and you, because I'm not going out there, but people should think about it. Maybe if you had like a podcast dedicated to Survivor skill set and what it would take to do well on Survivor, Rob, that people would listen to. Patreon
maybe
only, probably.
If we could explore that in the Survivor Academy for sure. We could do that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, then if you have a Survivor Academy, Rob, people should check that out.
Yeah, well, that's coming for the patrons this weekend. Be joined by our friend Phil Thompson.
Okay. Oh, I like Phil Thompson. He's very smart. If you are
See if he likes Harry
not
Potter.
a patron,
yeah,
he probably Phil Thompson's very smart. I would say that. So maybe he doesn't like Harry Potter. Yeah, I think if you're not a patron, I would become a patron to kind of explore those things, especially if I think I'm going to go on Survivor one day and want to hear some of the insight, some of the really like specific questions answered, because this ain't the place. The feedback show, you're not going to get that. We're talking about big fat juicy asses here.
Yeah, this is our Cobra Kai dojo of Survivor.
Yeah, look, if I'm going on the show, I think it wouldn't hurt to check it out. People have been checking out David Bloomberg's rules for years. And so I think you add this to your repertoire.
Yeah. Okay. Now, maybe Corey B might figure out an algorithm to figure out how many bamboo sticks do you need. I mentioned that to Stephen Fishback on the Survivor Know-It-Alls the other night about how Corey B already solved this triangle puzzle. I mentioned it to Stephen Fishback that, of course, the great Corey B at CavX on Twitter flagged Stephen's reaction and tweeted it out yesterday.
So they made that very fun. I mean, it was like fun watching them figure it out. The great beat where he's like, "I've got it. It's 11." He's like, "I'm on 36."
11, yeah, 11, Jonathan. Yeah, it's like Corey B already figured it out. If we're not using it now, we're never going to use it.
What?
Yeah. Okay. It was it was solved on Twitter in season 41. Yeah. Okay. This is the last chance to use it. All right.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rob, who's Muffin? Who is Muffin? Look, Corey B is my president. Okay, he got my vote. Like everybody should know this by now. Corey B is rarely wrong. So Corey B said it. I agree. And Stephen Fishback, you need to do your research. How dare you call yourself a Survivor Know-It-All and you don't know who Corey B is? Follow CavX on Twitter and follow him on Twitch too. Follow Corey B in life.
Sure. Anywhere. Stephen was very busy following all of the Survivor NFTs on Twitter this week. So that he does have an excuse.
He sounded like he was into it. I don't know. Check out his tweets to find out, how enthusiastic Stephen Fishback is about the NFTs.
Yeah. This is from Tals on Twitter, who wants to know, now Lydia told us she's a young person as a Gen Z, but Tals asks, is at Lydia Meredith really a Gen Z if she doesn't use yeet or poggers in a confessional?
I don't know. I am famously old, so I don't think I've ever used the word yeet earnestly. And I've never said that other word that you just said. Like the word has never uttered I've never left and said it. So I'm not going to start today. Like, okay, I can be comfortable with crack-a-lacking, but yeet and that other thing, they're not for me. Maybe Lydia has said those words, but,
maybe,
yeah, she just hasn't said it on the show yet.
Yeah,
but it's coming.
Okay. This was a tweet sent our way, flagged by J Mackey. Pete Yurkowski of Survivor Philippines tweeted, I committed to a Survivor viewing party, hoping no one recognizes me so I can approach ex-castaways and see how many can give me advice on getting on the show before I finish my second beer. Jay wants to know what ex-castaways are most likely to fall for this.
Ooh, who doesn't know Pete Yurkowski? Let's think.
I mean, if we're being real,
go for it.
I mean,
no, say it.
I think how many we're gonna recognize him?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like if anybody could pull this off, it's probably Pete. He
the master of disguise.
I
think Pete. I think you got this. Yeah.
Pete. No, Pete's hilarious because that's funny. That's so funny. Just to be like, I'm thinking about trying out for Survivor. I don't know. He just looks like, okay, this guy looks fairly like suitable for the game. Okay, fine. Let's give him some advice. No, I think Pete can pull this off, and I think any of the women that were on was it not HHH? Well, like not Allie. We know there was like that one season where there's like 3 or 4 women that are all the same. Oh, Thailand. I'm like, any of those women could have played again. You know, the pre-marriage women, they could have played again and nobody would have known.
We used to talk about undercover Butch as an idea of like, let somebody go play in a season. Well, now I think it would be like against like sort of like the ethos of the show of like the people that play Survivor eat, breathe, and live Survivor. Like they would never want to like embarrass the players and like put like a past castaway on. But there was a point in time when they easily could have put somebody back on from an older season, and then nobody said anything, and see like the audience would know, but would the players ever know?
You could have put Butch on Redemption Island, and even Boston Rob wouldn't have known.
No.
And they played within a year of each other, and he would not have known. So
Definitely
you're
not.
right. There was a sweet spot, because now people are going to start recognizing people from Survivor community. You know, like there's a moment where Chanel and Daniel are kind of pushed together as a duo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's a non-zero chance that Daniel actually knows Chanel. You know, there's also the moment where Zach is incentivized to work with Tori. There's a non-zero chance that Zach could have come across Tori. Now we know that Zach did not watch the
He did not.
2.
But when Swathi is introduced to Tori, Swathi says that what your name is Tori, right?
She's like, how did you know?
Yes, she's like, how did you know? So maybe it was already said like on the Matt chat, but I don't know. Like maybe Swathi has seen her on the sequester.
No, they had already introduced themselves. Like that's the unless this was taken.
Well, why
out
did
of
Tori
order.
say, how did you know?
Listen, that was Tori trying to bond. She's like,
Yes,
oh, look,
okay.
I'm making personal connections with everybody on the tribe. Like, you just said your name. Like, the way it was presented to us was that they went around a circle, introduced themselves. Then Tori went back up to Swathi and said, wait, how do you pronounce your name? And Swathi said, it's Swathi. She's like, oh, and you're Tori. Oh my God. Maybe it was facetious. You know, Tori did use sarcasm at different points throughout the episode. I don't really think that plays well on television if it's not funny. You know, like I think it's kind of off-putting on TV. You know, I think in the moment maybe it's not, but you know, at the tribal council when they're asking
it didn't
Tori
go great.
about, they're like, oh no, I must be so fatigued and tired that I forgot that entire conversation. And Jeff's like, seriously? She's like, no, it's fine. Like, okay. Like he had to check, because you say you're that fatigued and your memory is being affected, what, 2 days and 3 days into the show? Like, I think they have to talk to you, and you have to probably have like a health evaluation at that point.
Okay. Chappell, anything else from the season 42 premiere?
The premiere was great. I enjoyed it. I think, we got a lot of feedback on Twitter, which I love, but people are asking. I think it was Lil Rob. You know, I like Lil Rob. Lil Rob said that, like, if at any point will people start to, like, be weary of Marianne and her emotions, because she's like super emotional, whether it's like happy or sad. Like we saw her cry in the episode, but we also seen her like very, very happy. And he said if she's blindsided, they'll need a mop and a bucket for all those tears. And it was just like, yeah. And that's why I would never blindside her, because I refuse. I'd take a bullet before I'd give my pinky to not have to be in that situation. But yeah, there was a lot. And I think that the game, with them throwing so much at us, like we can start to whittle this down into what actually works and doesn't work, you know? So maybe in the future they don't spoil the show by showing people read advantages and stuff like that.
Did that bother you? Are you that? Yeah.
Stop it. You know, I had no clue. I was like, what is potato skins? What are y'all talking about? Like, I watched the same show y'all watch. There were no damn potato skins. I don't pay attention to nothing that's happening before the people actually come out onto the mat.
Yeah,
you know,
how are potato skins as an app? Would you ever, if you had gone to Applebee's, Chappell, would you ever order those?
I mean, Applebee's does have half decent appetizers. Like, it's one of the things that are higher up on their on their ranking. Like, it's like appetizers, and then that's it. Yeah, this is probably all you can eat. So,
I love Applebee's.
Karishma, you're a liar. Also, why wasn't I invited to the baby shower? I'm just saying. I'm down the street. Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. Chappell, what'd you think of the immunity idol?
Oh, we had an immunity idol in this
you didn't see the snake that was like
oh yeah, the tribal immunity.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a snake that was eating itself, right? Or like something that was
itself,
it was swallowing itself.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. As long as it
Chappell,
don't choke,
if you were a snake,
would I eat myself?
Yeah. Would you swallow your own tail?
Would I swallow my own tail if I was a snake? I don't know. I've been told I taste good. I don't think I would do it. Yeah. I wouldn't do it. Nah, I don't need to know. I'll just take their word for it. You know. What about you, Rob? You gonna eat yourself?
I mean, I think you would try it, I think.
Would you? Ew. Like, I wouldn't try it. I'd let other people try it and then tell me about it, but I don't want to know. Yeah.
Okay.
Personally, I could find no, absolutely not. No. Stop it.
All right. Chappell.
What do you have the big, fattest, juiciest tail?
The
It's kinda
BFJT.
like you gotta try it at that point.
Yeah. At that
You
point.
gotta try it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Who's getting voted off next week?
I don't think there's a world where Ika does not go back to tribal council.
Yeah.
So I think we're looking at either Tory or Roxroy.
I agree. I think that those are the two people that are in danger.
Yeah. Tori's got some work to do. She does. She's in a bad spot from my point of view. And then again, we don't see everything, but she was one vote away from going home. Like, had that shot in the dice, the dark die or whatever, landed correctly, which
now
I think shenanigans on the shot in the dark die.
Like, do you think? Wait, hold on. Okay, so let's explore that. Okay, shenanigans on the shot in the dark die in what way?
If I could roll the dice,
then
I would feel more comfortable knowing that it was actually, it was God's plan.
God's plan. Yeah.
Yes, yes, Julie Chen, take us to church. But yes, but because I have to put it in this little cup, and I don't see the transference of the cup to the thing, and I don't know what else is in there.
Why not that? Okay, I played my shot in the dark. Now I take a ticket. Okay, I take a ticket, and Jeff has like the big craps table in front of him, and you have like a giant shot in the dark die like Frenchie had. Okay, and then you take it and you throw it on the craps table,
like The Price is Right. Oh,
like The Price is Right with the dice game.
Yeah. Marianne is like screaming like, yes! Like,
Marianne, I mean, speaking of Lil Rob, that if you could ever get Marianne, if they do another Survivor Live Price is Right. Oh my God. Marianne, come on down.
Like, yes! Like, yes, Marianne. Like, we're crying at home. Like, she did it. Like, oh yeah. Like, even like the like, she, oh my God, like she just falls to the ground. Like,
all
no,
right,
take my money.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get the chance to play Plinko. Oh my God.
She's like, yes, Marianne, yes. I'm fist pumping at home. I want you to let me roll the dice. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to just be like, you're not safe. Like, how you know? How you know? How you know for sure? Don't get me wrong. Like, Survivor is supposed to be like on the level. We're all supposed to have a fair shot at this. But Jamal literally got a pencil.
Yeah.
And he didn't ask for that.
Never seen one before on Survivor.
Right. Yes, you have. Yes, you have, Rob. Boston Rob. New England Rob. Yeah. So it's like, I feel like Survivor can pick and choose when they want this thing to happen. And I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. Now, am I accusing Survivor of doing this thing? No. But I know sometimes you open an advantage and this is not an advantage. What happened to you? What like, I want to be safe, damn it. Like,
I mean, they let Michelle flip the 50-50 coin. I don't know why we can't roll a dice at Tribal Council.
Right, and that flip was kind of shady anyway. Like, I like Michelle a lot.
Yeah,
but let's be very clear.
Was
that a flip?
I mean, with the craps table, I mean, if you go and play craps like in Vegas or Atlantic City, like if you don't have a good enough roll, like you gotta do it again. Right. Gotta hit the back wall. Yeah.
People start questioning like weighted dice, and like how far deep into this do you want to get? You know, like are we magnetizing the roulette table? Like, how are we counting cards here, Rob? Let's get into it. So maybe there's no way to always know that this is on the level. But I remember back in the old Survivor days, Ralph Kaiser like slipped and tripped over an idol, like it was just in front of him, and you wonder if that was for a certain Russell Hantz to find. So there have been shenanigans in the past. It just, for me, I would like a little bit more agency in the dice roll, just for me.
Okay. So I feel like I want to make sure we don't miss anything. We got it all.
I think so.
This was a BFJ podcast.
It was a big old fat juicy one. We've been talking for a while, but I do appreciate like the listeners' questions. Of course, like I don't know who this Felipe person is, but they're very funny. And yeah, like I think that just as a premiere, this was very strong. again, I know you and Gabby probably explored the Jackson stuff, and
Yeah,
so
I mean,
don't
do you want
really-
to
yeah.
comment anything on that?
It's like it's one of those things where like I'm sure it's like I was just being very harsh on Survivor saying there could be some shenanigans, but I'd like to say that I think that Survivor has been trying harder to take care of their players. Now they might not care about Daniel walking around with no arm, but I do think that they wanted to give Jackson an opportunity if they could. People have been questioning if it was like Survivor was exploiting their story as a trans person. And I honestly, even if Survivor was, I'd say that story was so powerful that I think we benefit from it. Now it could have come from at the cost of somebody else getting to play the game, which we don't love. But I do think like Jeff said it's happened like a day or two right before they started filming. The day before they started filming.
Jackson, corroborates everything that the show is saying. So like it really it's like an unfortunate situation for everybody involved. But I don't know if there's anywhere where like anybody is feeling like I know some people do feel like, okay, well, Survivor has a not such a great track record in the past, like points that very fair. But in this instance, I mean, Jackson was taking something that is too dangerous to play Survivor on. He didn't tell the producers. They didn't have an alternate. The alternate had gone home, according to Jackson's interviews. And, had Jackson disclosed, and Jackson was afraid to disclose this because I didn't want to get, kicked out of the running. This was my dream to do this. And then, had Jackson disclosed early enough, they would have said, okay, well, like get right. And we'll see you for season 43 and we'll get the alternate in here. But they just like ran out of time.
Yeah. And it, like I said, it's heartbreaking because Jackson's story was so good. Like it was such a good, like I was watching it. Like,
It was
wow.
beautiful. It was an amazing story.
Yeah, I like that guy. I was like, Jackson, you're dope. But also like people were upset. People were just like, you took someone else's spot. You knew you were on lithium. It's like, listen.
Who said that? Who said that?
What? Some people are saying it, Rob. I don't want to call you names. Yeah, but people are saying it.
People
but
we
here's the
know?
thing. I don't know them.
Okay.
I would
like,
never.
Egg people.
Yeah, like egg people are upset. But I do think like I said, these people are willing to go to great lengths to make sure that they have a chance to play the game. It's the thing that they dreamed about. We know that Jackson has wanted to play this game for a very long time. And so I don't fault Jackson. I do. This is definitely Jackson's fault. But like I definitely don't like blame Jackson for doing it. Like it's like based on the information that we know about players who want to play Survivor, they're willing to put their health at risk, to play the game. And so yeah.
People are going to cut off fingers, play with dislocated shoulders.
Right. Like at this point, people want to be on the show. And I think if nothing else, it's a positive thing to know that people feel that passionately about Survivor. But I don't think it was nefarious. I definitely just think like, it probably could have been handled differently on all parts, but based on the timeline that they had and the information that they had, they did with the best they could. And so I will extend a lot of grace to Survivor. And I've been hard on Survivor in the past. So, I think that they did okay with this one.
Yeah. I don't know what the show could have done differently in terms of like, I guess they could, just like have pulled Jackson before the game even started. But I think it was sort of like we're in a tough spot because they have only 18 people there, unless they were going to hey, all right, here's here's your tribe cast. Here's Nasir. Okay, Nasir. Nobody will know you. Okay, you don't tell them that you played in season 41.
Yes. That's what they should start doing. Secret Nasir or secret random player who they haven't met because of
but they probably
the
I'm being joking around, but like the season 41 there was layover, but they were gone. They're on the plane too.
Could you imagine if they just told Erica, you just won Survivor. Now, do you want to do double or nothing? Would you go out and play it again?
You would need somebody who didn't go that far. Like it's like, all right, JD, here you're going back in. Brad, get ready.
Yeah, yes, Brad, you're going back in. Oh,
Voce.
Yes. What if Voce goes back in and wins the second time, and then Puya has to eat the nuggets? Like, give me all of that. Like, yes, Voce, and I'm screaming like Marianne, like, yeah, like Voce, like,
yeah. That'd be amazing.
Come on down. Yeah.
And Marianne's mom is like,
why are you interested in this show?
Yeah.
Why are you interested in this show, Marianne? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Marianne's mom, she sounds dope. Like I just know that mom was like, "What are you talking about? Why do you want to do this? Like, what was
that's
wrong with
everybody's
you?"
mom. That wants to be
You
on
would
Survivor.
think. No, not Zach Werdenberger's mom. She's in the patron group. She's like,
yeah.
listen, go be on Survivor. You know,
Mhm.
like go do it. Man, I would. They. Oh my god, everybody seems so nice. They just seem like nice people. But yeah,
great
definitely
cast.
don't let friends go on Big Brother. Friends can allow friends to go on Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's fair.
That should be the rule. Yeah,
That's fair.
Go on
Yeah.
Survivor. Do not go on Big Brother. But
If you can
keep
help
Big
it.
Brother on the air. Yeah, send your enemies to Big Brother.
Yeah. Chappell, I
Yeah.
dodged a bullet. I tried to go on Big Brother, and then Lynn Spillman pulled me from the fire.
Right. Like they did
Saved
they
my
did you a
life.
solid. Had you gone on Big Brother, none of this would be possible right now. Like, none of this. You look around you, all this stuff, everything the light touches, that would
Mhm.
not be your life. But that dark, shadowy place, the elephant
Yeah.
graveyard, that would
That
be
was
your
Big
life if you
Brother.
went on Big Brother.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right. I have
You'd
to
be a
write.
casualty to Jason Guy and Danielle Reyes.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, but like first boot probably.
Yeah, or they'd be calling you the devil. You'd be Roddy.
Yes. And we know the devil, a loser and a liar.
A loser and a like, yes, Julie, yes. How do you know?
Okay. All right, Chappell, we have a busy weekend because we're recording this on Saturday morning. We'll be together on Sunday to record this week's Nothing But Netflix, talking about a brand new movie coming to Netflix, The Adam Project, starring Ryan Reynolds, our second Ryan Reynolds movie we're covering here on Nothing But Netflix.
This is a Ryan Reynolds stand account now. We've done what is it? The Red Notice. Red Notice.
Yep.
And now we're doing the Adam Project. Ryan Reynolds, Jennifer Garner, and Mark Ruffalo all on the same show. And so yeah, it should be a good time.
Okay. Be on the lookout for that. What else do you have coming up?
Rob, this was a busy week for me. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay.
I had a lot going on. So I was
BFJ
recently,
week. Yep.
big fat juicy week, you know, one of the juiciest, I'd say. Yeah, this was a big one. So yeah, this last week I recorded a podcast for Shit 90 Shows Taught Me podcast with Jess Sterling
Where
and Sarah
Corey
Ferguson.
cheated on Topanga.
Yes, but I do think we should hear both sides. You know, like, yes, Corey cheated, but
Oh my god.
were there other factors at play? It was also Linda Cardellini, Rob. I'm just saying. It was Linda Cardellini. You know, Topanga's Topanga, but Linda Cardellini, you know, I just think we should have the conversation. So check that out. Shit 90 Shows Taught Me podcast to find out what I really think about that episode of Boy Meets World. It was a good time. Also, on post-show recaps, I've been talking about The Walking Dead, and we found out that there's much more Walking Dead to come. And so check that out from now into the foreseeable future. Josh Wigler, myself, Jessica Leese, AJ Mass, we're doing the Walking Dead thing over there on post-show recaps. I'm still on post-show recaps talking about Bel Air as well.
Yes.
Yes. The great Puya, the famous Puya, one of my podcast idols, is my co-host for that. So it's like I get to podcast with you, Rob, and I get to podcast with Puya. Like if I can get Kirsten, like, oh my gosh, like I've hit the big three. Like if I can get Scally, like bro, I'm retired. You know, like I've hit
No, don't
all
do
the big
that.
moments. Like no, yeah, no. That you just have to aim high. You know, like aim high. You might aim for the stars, you land on the cloud, whatever they say, right?
Yeah.
But yes, Puya and I are still talking about Bel Air. We're several seasons in. Several episodes in the first season. I'm sorry, and having a good time. So check out that on Peacock and check out the podcast as well. Also on post show recaps, Latanya Starks, Mari Forth, and myself are talking about Atlanta.
Yes.
Yes, and so season 3 of Atlanta is releasing in a couple weeks. We've done one preview pod. We got another preview pod coming, and then we're gonna jump into the the penultimate season of Atlanta because I think it's coming back for a 4th season. Yeah, so we're going to talk about that on post show recap. So check that out. Of course, Rob got to hang out with you on the draft, you know, so that was a fun time. I was over at Silent Podcast talking about Abbott Elementary, kind of did like a mid-season catch up.
I keep saying that that's a show I'm going to start.
It's an easy watch. It's fun. It's smart. I love it. And so Silent Podcast, they got into a lot of like the things you should know, fun things about the show, what our favorite characters are. So check that out as well. So yeah, it's been a busy one, but I'm excited to do Nothing But Netflix with you. And don't we have a special guest for that as well?
Yes, but Taron Armstrong to talk about some sci-fi. Hopefully he'll be able to make sense of the movie for us.
Yeah, Mr. Robot Taron is coming. And I'm very excited to talk to him as well. So it's been a good time. But yeah, people can check out all of those mini podcasts and follow me on Twitter at Chappell's_show. I created one just now, so I could follow Lydia's tweets. Yes. And so check that out. And yeah, and that'll keep you posted on all the things I have going on.
Yeah. All right. Well, Chappell, great job here on the feedback show.
It was fun.
Came in and just says a BFJ episode.
I got it crack-a-lacking, you know.
You got the feedback show crack-a-lacking here for the new season. So it's a great job.
Yeah.
Crack-a-lacking.
Yeah.
Crack-a-lacking. It's the way he said it. Like, yes, Rocks, we're crack-a-lacking. See, I have been converted, you know. Yeah, it's like I started off, I was anti-crack-a-lacking, but now I'm all in.
Yeah.
All in on crack-a-lacking.
Chappell, I didn't get to play for you that I want to play for you the Survivor theme song.
Oh God.
I don't think they've ever heard the Survivor
I don't
theme
think
song.
they don't know the song.
Because they don't play it anymore. They skip it. And now, Jeff, look what you've done. These young people, these young heads, they don't even know the Survivor theme song. That's what happens when you took it out of the show for 15 years.
Honestly, if it's gonna keep people from singing it, then put it back in. Because I don't want it. I don't want that. Like, if I'm on Survivor, God forbid, and you start singing the Survivor theme song, you are my target. I might not come for you like immediately, but there's no way I'm taking you to the final two. I just hate you for making me like listen to that. Like, I don't want to hear you sing the Survivor theme song. Sorry.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I like the Survivor theme song. I just don't want to hear you sing it. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. No, it just, it don't feel right.
Yeah.
You know, like let the ancient voices do it. I don't want not ancient voices do it, you know?
All right. And I've got one more Survivor podcast to go here for this week. That is the aforementioned Survivor Academy, where Phil Thompson will join me this week to take a look at everything we've learned about the game of Survivor for the future Survivor players. For future Survivor players who are getting ready that you are going to go out there one day, be one of the people, despite your friends telling you you'll never make it and your parents telling you not to do it. You are not listening to anybody. You want to go out there. We're getting you ready. This is just for the patrons. RobHisWebsite.com/patron, of course. Make sure you subscribe to all of the podcasts to make sure you get everything that our other podcasters are doing for Survivor this week at RobHisWebsite.com/Survivor feed. Chappell, thank you again. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye. Peace.